right, we're back again. Hope everyone's doing okay today. What to tell you guys? What to tell everyone? Yeah, not much to say really. You know, the videos are still going well. Live streams going all right. It seems like maybe the AI backgrounds were the cause for the restrictions, so we're going to go, with no background, a real background today. See if that works. And we've already got people in the queue. Okay, Luna wants to come straight up. Thank you, Crypto. Okay, Luna ghosted us. So yeah, the queue is now open for anybody that wants to join. Long live total extinction. Rock on, that's it. Long live the end of all suffering. Reporting for duty. Become an activist then, basically, right? You can become an activist today through the link on my profile. Join our Discord, join our WhatsApp group. Start making videos to grow the movement, get new activists on board, educating people. We need to educate the world that life shouldn't actually exist, right? Life should never exist in unsafe conditions like this world. And obviously, for most of the history of our planet, it was just animals. So the animals didn't, understand or realize life shouldn't exist, right? So nobody realized that. And it's only been, over time and, now that we're in modern day and we have better education and stuff, that people are now realizing actually, okay, life shouldn't exist. Life should not exist because it's in unsafe conditions, and that's not good. That's not acceptable. Life should only exist in certainty of safety, where there is no chance of being trapped in a life of pure hell, extreme suffering. So yeah, that's the ultimate truth, everyone, basically, is that life should not exist. And that, everyone in the entire world has been wrong about it, right? So essentially, it's just coping mechanisms, right? So all of human history is essentially one big coping mechanism. Next time you watch TV or something, right? When people are like consoling each other and saying everything will be okay, you can start to see it now, right? You start to see the truth of it, that it's just one big coping mechanism, right? Telling people life is going to be okay and, that everything's going to be great, this is going to happen. And it's all just a coping mechanism. And it flies in the face of reality, which is that you're going to suffer terribly, most likely, right? You are going to be begging for death at some point. You are going to regret being born, quite likely, right? I think most people have regretted it at one point or another. So yeah, that's the ultimate reality. The ultimate truth is that life should not exist, and that we are now just starting to wake up and to realize that fact. So, obviously animals were never going to do that. Neanderthals were probably never going to do that. And most humans never did it either, right? They're still animals, basically. They haven't realized that, actually, life is just causing extreme suffering. It's just causing harm, basically. But now people are realizing it and saying, okay, we should put an end to this. We should put an end to all of the suffering and the cruelty. Hello. How you doing? Are you suffering today? On a scale of 1 to 10, how is your suffering? Sounds pretty bad. We'll let you get the help you need. Am I a vegan? No. I was a vegan and I was an antinatalist before I joined the movement and found out that both of those things cause more suffering. So veganism actually causes way more suffering than even I realized until recently. So it's actually way, way, way worse than most people realize. Because actually, literally most of the planet's habitable surface is now agriculture. And most of it is for the animal, agriculture industry. So literally that has wiped out massive amounts of forests and wildlife populations, and essentially led to an enormous reduction in suffering in the world, right? Because we've knocked out all of the habitat for wild animals to suffer on. And they actually suffer in, basically times like a million, right? Their numbers are massive compared to farmed animals. It's like a million times more. Like it's an insane number, basically. So yeah, knocking down forests and doing animal agriculture actually reduces the suffering because farmed animals have better conditions. They're much lesser in number, with lesser suffering. They get euthanasia, medicine, shelter. They're not being eaten alive en masse in insane numbers like wild animals are. So currently, if you go vegan, it causes more suffering, but we should work towards a world where that isn't the case. But the problem with vegans is that they don't care about wild animals. They want more wild animals to suffer even more. So that's the problem. So you would need to prevent the reforestation, prevent the return of habitat for wild animals to suffer on. And yeah, we should work towards a vegan world in a way that doesn't cause more suffering to wild animals, whereas currently it does. Andy, hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, what's good?
Nothing much.
True. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes. How do you intend to extinct all humans?
Just however is necessary, basically. But like, it wouldn't be with sterilization. It would be with euthanasia. Sterilization only helps the next generation. It doesn't help anyone who's suffering now.
Okay. Thank you. I gotta go now.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, as always, if anybody else wants to join, feel free to come up. You know, a lot of people in the chat with questions and saying, is this satire and stuff? Well, you say it to my face, ask me the questions to my face, and I will answer. Let me educate you. So this is all for the pro-extinction movement. We are a movement of people around the world, and we are coming to carry out total extinction. So we have to get enough people together to make it possible, to end all of the suffering, to make sure that there is no life, basically, no more animals, no more people, no more suffering. And so unless we actively do that and carry out total extinction, then that will never happen. So we can't allow it to be voluntary or optional. We have to literally use force and carry out total extinction, basically, because if we don't, then suffering will just continue for billions of years. And you also have to think about those who are suffering right now and those who will be suffering tomorrow. So total extinction is urgently needed, right? It's not something that we should be putting off. The victims need it today, and they'll be needing it tomorrow as well. So extinction is a good thing. It's urgently necessary, urgently needed, and we have to provide it, and it won't be optional.
I have a question. Hello.
Yeah, how's it going?
How do you plan on extincting the whole world?
By growing the movement and then, carrying it out in an organized way.
Do you really believe that you could extinct the whole world?
Well, we have to try. It's the only right thing to do.
I mean, I feel like it's right, but I don't know if it'll work out. But I do believe that extinction is the only way that this world could end suffering and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to do it, right? We have to believe in logic. We have to have faith that, the thing is, the reasoning is on our side. So we are right. So that's a big advantage that's not going to go away anytime soon. Okay? So we have literally being right on our side. It's like the biggest advantage possible. So we have to use our logic, use our reason, and solve all of the problems, essentially, grow the movement.
But let's say people started gathering and then started killing other people to extinct the race. Would you support it?
No. We need more humans. We're against violence. We're against self-harm. The more humans we have, the sooner we can do the most vast and thorough extinction possible. So if we only had 100 humans on the planet, it would be impossible. So the more humans we have, the more powerful the species is, the more our technology advances, and the sooner we can do extinction properly.
Would you support like any viruses to
No,
infect the whole world?
no. So we have to do extinction as an authority, as a government. If you're trying to do it, while the government is trying to stop you, then you're not going to be able to do a proper job, essentially. So we're not going to use a virus or anything like that. It's going to be euthanasia, maybe with gas or something. It's going to be bit by bit, organized. It's not going to be a single event or anything like that.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Moving on, we have plenty more people now in the queue, so let's get our next guest up. Let's see who's it going to be. Got Dr. Modern in the queue. Hello.
Good morning, James, my boy.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I just love that you talk about this as if it has any possibility whatsoever
Well, it does.
being adopted. No, it doesn't.
It's
doesn't.
being adopted already.
You're
Lots of
a
people are joining the
whinging
movement.
fool, James. You're a whinging fool. Nobody
Well,
in mass will
that's just rude, right? And usually when people are rude like that, it's because they can't actually argue. They have no logic. They have no intelligence, right? So he's immediately resorted to insults. Look, if I was in his position and I came across this stream, I would say, right, I really want to talk about this. This is interesting. Let's test the logic here. Let's explore the idea. But instead, he can only come up and use insults, right? Which just shows that he doesn't actually have the intelligence to think about it properly, to talk about it, to debate it. And that's kind of part of the problem, is that most humans have the same problem as that guy, essentially. And they're irresponsible. They're allowing all of the suffering in the world. They don't care about it. So we need to do better.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, how's it going? Do you have any questions?
I'm gonna ask you a question.
How are you gonna perform the pro extinction move that you're saying? Like, how are you gonna kill all the things that are living on Earth globally?
We'll find a way, and we'll just find the best way to do it.
Oh, okay. That's only my question. Bye.
All right, thanks for coming up. Moving on, we now have lots of people in the queue, so let's get started from the bottom. Okay, let's see. Hello, how's it going?
Hello, James.
Yeah, hello. Do you have any questions?
Do you think that the government would have the benefits if we do this mass extinction?
Well, everyone will benefit, basically. If there's total
But why
extinction.
do the government? But why do the government support to have children and mass immigration in the Europe?
It's just economics, basically, and politics. But we do need more children until we can do the best extinction possible. So extinctionism is not about simply rushing it and doing the worst extinction. We need the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which is the best extinction, the most fair,
How?
the most thorough, and the most vast. So we do it by growing the movement, getting people together who are going to work together and make it possible, make it happen.
But how?
By making videos, live streaming, educating people, and appealing for people to join the movement and to work on total extinction with us.
Do you support abortion?
It's not something that's really relevant to extinctionism. But
So how are you gonna
generally
make?
speaking, yes. Generally, we support it, but equally, that is subject to the needs of extinctionism, as is everything else.
What the fuck?
Is that surprising to you?
No. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So what, things being fluid and changing as is necessary doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
think-
it's called nuance, basically.
All species had their times.
What?
Like dinosaurs, they all went extinct over time.
Okay, I'm sure they did, but actually they didn't, right? The dinosaurs didn't actually go extinct. They life continued, right? So there was never a total extinction like that. Which is why, we have to do a more thorough total extinction. You can't just leave it to an asteroid. You can't just leave it to chance. You can't leave it to nukes. You have to do it in a much more scientific
Hello?
and thorough way. Hello, how's it going?
It's all right. I was listening to you and I was thinking about your theories about suffering, and I agree. Suffering, is a planet-wide thing and no one should suffer. But then I was thinking about afterlife. And what if afterlife is real and the Bible people are right about hell? And what if you
Well,
just
then, if there is an afterlife, if there is hell, then extinction is the solution because it means that there'll be no more people going to hell.
But then won't all those people that you extinct go to hell if they're
But they were going to go there anyway. So it will prevent billions of years of more people going to hell.
Okay, well, that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming up. Moving on, we've got Ryuzaki in the queue. Let's bring them up. Ryuzaki, onegai shimasu. No, they've ghosted. Okay, moving on. The smug face of this sociopath. Sociopaths aren't really interested in ending all
hello?
suffering and providing safety, are they? Hello,
Do,
Mo.
do
How's it
you hear
going?
me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, yeah, it's going good. But I feel like you kind of have a misunderstanding of what suffering is because doesn't that depend on the person? Like, it doesn't really make sense to say that you are suffering, therefore you have to die. Like, people have different definitions of suffering. Some people being euthanized, if they saw their loved one euthanized, that would be a form of
So you think
suffering.
we shouldn't make animal abuse impossible because some of the animals might be okay with it?
What? Wait, so that's
So
kind of irrelevant.
you're saying we shouldn't make extreme cruelty impossible because people might experience that cruelty in different ways.
I'm saying you're going about it the wrong way.
Do you see what I mean? That you're not making any sense.
What I'm saying is suffering.
It sounds like you're struggling, like you're babbling at this point.
What I'm saying is suffering is subjective to the person. You can't just put like a
Yes,
blanket statement.
so you're saying that we should make animal child abuse? Should we legalize it because suffering is subjective?
No, but that's a logical
Why not though?
fallacy.
But suffering is subjective, so you can't really put rules on it, right? You see how your
No.
logic just collapses immediately, right? It doesn't work.
But you would have to put a definition.
The subjective people, they just can't live in the real world, right? Your logic immediately collapses.
Wait, no. The thing
as
what I'm
soon as you
saying
try
is
to apply it.
with child abuse, you can define rules for it. You can't just put a
we
blanket
should make
statement.
it impossible, not try and justify it like you're trying to do.
What I'm saying is child abuse. It's like, okay, there's a certain rules.
No, we get your game, okay? We know what you're trying to do. You want to say morality is subjective, suffering is subjective, because the only thing that achieves is to defend child abuse and cruelty, basically, right? That's the only thing it achieves. So when we're saying, child abuse should be impossible, your counter argument is basically, a bit of cruelty. It's subjective, right? So you can't say you can't make child abuse illegal because it's all subjective, right? That's the level of insanity that we're dealing with here. Complete insanity, I guess, right? When we're talking about extreme cruelty, and you're saying, maybe the victim enjoys it. That only a complete psychopath would say that. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. Okay, so basically my question is, if I'm pro-extinctionism but I still want to really commit suicide, how can I justify that?
Well, that would only be justified rationally if it was just truly unbearable, right? And there was no way you could hold out to try and help other people with activism.
Okay, because like I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I just can't justify it for myself. So I've tried to like convince as many people as I can for pro-extinctionism, and I've convinced like a good amount, like maybe 20, 30 people. And now I'm wondering if I've already done enough to justify suicide.
Interesting. Well, ultimately, the decision is up to you, right? All I can do is encourage you to do more activism because I want to help, the world and all of the suffering going on in it, right? So I care about all of the sufferers. So, obviously, I care about you as well and your suffering. So you have to decide yourself, basically. But all I can say is, if you can hold out and do more activism, then maybe it would be good.
All right. Okay. That's
All right. Yeah, thanks for coming up. Okay, we have, a few more people. Let's get them up. Mr. Goy, hello.
Hello. So, why do you believe that suffering is worth more than pleasure?
Because safety comes first, right? Because, just think about it, right? We apply that rule in our day-to-day life all the time, right? Where safety comes first.
Then suffering exists for safety, though.
No, suffering is the opposite of safety.
Suffering is the detection of the opposite of safety. So, for example, pain or fear, right? Stress is suffering, right? And the reason it exists,
you're right.
And the reason it exists is to keep you alive.
Yeah, but that only benefits the lucky ones, right? For the majority, that system doesn't actually benefit them. It just ends up torturing them.
So why should we sacrifice the lucky ones for the unlucky ones?
You mean sacrifice the lucky ones for the unlucky ones? Well, because it's not fair, basically. And also nobody should be in danger, right? It's more about life not existing in unsafe conditions, right? Which it just shouldn't. There's no need for it. It's not right. And surely, the problem with pro-lifers like yourself is that you have no standards for life whatsoever, right? Life could be in the worst conditions and you'd still just not care. So you don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to, the moral high ground or actually being involved in deciding what the right thing is.
So what you're saying is suffering is objectively worth more than pleasure. So every single animal that suffers is reason enough for animals that feel pleasure and feel good to just stop feeling that pleasure.
Yeah, so even if there was only one victim, it would still justify total extinction because life doesn't need to exist, and getting rid of it does nothing bad essentially. Whereas the only thing that does matter is safety from suffering.
Okay, so imagine we had 100 people, right? One person suffers and 99 people do not suffer, they feel good. Should we kill the 99 people to save this one person from suffering?
If that was the only way to do it, then yes.
So why though? Why is the one person suffering worth more than 99 people feeling pleasure?
Yeah, because the existence of those 99 people, or anyone really, has zero value. It doesn't need to exist. It can be traded for safety from suffering. And essentially, and those people also are in danger as well. So non-existence benefits them as well, basically. It prevents them from being tortured horrifically.
So they have zero value according to which standard, though? Your standard. And why is your standard worth more than their standard?
Yeah, because essentially it's more important to be safe from suffering than it is to be alive.
But then suffering exists to keep you safe from suffering.
But again, as I've already explained to you, that doesn't actually work in the vast majority of cases. It's only the very lucky, a tiny minority who benefit from being able to suffer. For the vast majority,
It benefits every single animal that suffers. So, for example, say a deer suffers when it gets
So
chased by
let
a
me get
lion,
this straight.
right?
You think it benefits an animal that's being tortured to death by a sadist?
I mean, no, I don't
When you
think it
said
that
it
way, right?
benefits every single animal, you were wrong, basically.
but-
You made an insane statement, a claim of insane exaggeration and arrogance. Basically.
So I'll tell you why it benefits the animal getting tortured by sadists, right? It benefits them because they try to escape, right? If they don't try to escape, it doesn't benefit them at all. They're just gonna sit there and die, right?
So
The fact that they suffer
it
gives them a
no,
chance.
it's not benefiting them, right? If there
It
is no
does, because it
escape,
gives them the chance to stop
No.
suffering, right?
no.
Because they struggle, right?
No, that's
Stop
insane,
like-
right? That's a silly thing to say. Because for those who don't escape, it doesn't benefit them at all.
Yeah, because they just lose, right? They just lose. That's it's
Right.
like-
Yeah. So you're revealing that you're not actually a responsible person, right? When it comes to extreme suffering, they're losers. That's what you think, basically. So you've revealed that you're not a serious person, that you're not an intelligent person, that you have no serious logic or in reason that's worth considering here, right? If you're backed into a corner defending your arguments, and the only thing you can say is that those who get tortured to death are losers, then you've lost the debate, haven't you? Obviously. Okay, moving on. Let's see who else we've got. We have...
Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what do you mean by, like, extinction?
So yeah, our movement, the pro-extinction movement, is working towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible to end all suffering and to prevent billions of years of more suffering.
Okay, so all life, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like the Lich from Adventure Time, okay.
No, we are activists against suffering.
But you want to get rid of all life.
Yeah, get rid of all of the suffering and all of the potential for suffering as well.
Okay. So is it like a goal of where, okay, if we get rid of 50% of all of not just human life, of all life, is it not like good? Is it no better between 25, 50, or 75, or is it like all or nothing type of thing?
Yeah, just the more the better.
The more the better. Okay, so if you only had a chance to get rid of 60% of all life, then it's better than like 50%.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go around killing everyone then?
Because that doesn't result in extinction.
It results in a percentage of extinction.
No, you're just not able to think of an actual way to get to extinction, right? So you're not intelligent enough to think of how to do it. But the way to do it is through a movement and organized activism.
Yeah, so what's the end goal of this activism?
The most vast and thorough extinction possible.
So a suicide cult is basically what you want to do.
No, not at all. We're actually against suicide and self-harm. In fact, we need more humans and we need humanity to keep reproducing until we can scientifically determine and carry out the best extinction possible, the most vast and thorough, the most fair, and the maximum safety that we can provide from suffering.
So instead of suicide, you just want to have like the entirety of humanity basically kill all the animals, kill all the plants, and then have like a gigantic like circle of everyone pointing a gun at the other person's head and fire?
I mean, we probably wouldn't do it in such a dramatic, theatrical way like that, but we would find an intelligent way to do it, essentially.
Do you have any theories on how?
Yeah, I mean, we're growing the movement. We've got people all over the world joining and agreeing to help us do this. And basically the roadmap is to grow the movement with peaceful activism until we can until we can take over the world and start running it ethically, which needs to happen anyway. Then we would start with animal extinction and researching and engineering the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which maybe, go beyond Earth potentially as well. And then, as soon as humanity is no longer needed, that's when we will make them go extinct. and that can potentially be done sooner if we can replace them with robots and AI who can continue the mission after humanity is gone.
Okay, so the idea is to have robots take care of Earth, take care of basically a rock and water with nothing in it after you extinct all ourselves from the planet.
Well, no, it's arrogant to try and predict the future and what exactly the science is going to look like, right? We have to make the science possible, do the science, instead of trying to predict the science, right? Do the science, don't predict the science.
Okay, if that is possible, would you like to have robots on the Earth?
Yeah, why not?
What's the point? After
Well,
we're gone.
Yeah, so they could potentially carry on doing the science and research for continuing universe-wide extinction, basically.
So, what would you want me to do?
So yeah, we're just asking people to do peaceful activism, make videos, grow the movement, join the Discord and the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, what do you want me to say during this activism?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to talk about it, right? So, I mean, you could even just do 20-second videos saying, the suffering in this world is unacceptable. The solution is total extinction. Join us at proextinction.com, right? Everyone could do that, like a 15-second video. Literally everyone could do that, right? Just pull out your phone and do that. But you can get more elaborate with it. You can go into the philosophy, the logic, the morality. There's loads of ways to talk about it, right? I've made like hundreds of videos trying to find different ways to talk about it at this point. You can talk about animal suffering, people suffering, universe-wide extinction, how we're going to get there, the activism that you can do. Yeah, there's a whole world, basically. We're building an entire world of extinctionism.
Okay, so you want me to just say, hey, the universe has a lot of suffering in it, so let's let's go for this movement. Are you going to wait until we find some like scientists or like bioengineers or someone who's intelligent enough to be able to properly get down to this type of extinction?
Yeah, so like I said, we want the best extinction, the most vast and thorough, right? So the most intelligent extinction possible, right? So we're against rushing it, right? We would rather take longer and do a better, more thorough one so that we don't risk, life coming back or missing out on some life, if that makes sense.
Okay, what about people who don't want to die? Is this like are you working towards a unanimous movement?
No, I mean, you're probably never going to get 100% agreement on anything, right? So, and that's never been the way the world has worked, right? You have the police, you have governments, and they tell you what to do, they control you, even if you disagree, right? So, yeah, those who disagree, we still have to do it anyway. If we made it optional, then it wouldn't happen, right? And the suffering would continue on forever.
Okay, so it's some type of genocide, I would say.
No, it's an ethical extinction. So genocide is something that's done out of hatred and for selfish reasons.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, basically it is, though.
No, it could be a superiority complex.
The thing is, right, by trying to paint it as genocide, that is a straw man, right? It's a slander. You can't actually argue against the logic, so you're using buzzwords.
No, because there are certain religions of people who don't think that exterminating the entirety of all life is a good idea, and that would be discrimination against religions.
Well, yeah, but safety from suffering is more important than respecting, crazy religions and, insanity.
Crazy religions that don't like the killing of all life?
Well, the thing is, if you're against the killing of all life, then extinction is your best friend, because this is the maximum reduction. Right, this makes killing impossible, whereas the alternative is to allow it to continue for billions of years. So, who is really against killing here? Is it me or is it you?
Let's be very clear. You are still advocating for a genocide because there will be a lot of people
there will be much
who would
worse
want
genocides
to not die, mainly.
So it's not a genocide, right?
The Buddhists, the Christians.
I'm just going to mute you because you're yapping a bit. So it's not a genocide because genocide usually, or I'm pretty sure it has to leave a victor, basically, a conqueror, somebody that wins and takes the land, right? So this isn't about doing that, and you're essentially just... Actually, I'm just going to kick you out, right? Because you're resorting to insults like genocide, right? Which, again, just means that you can't argue against it, right? You're actually proving that you're so desperate to find a way to argue against it that you're having to resort to basically buzzwords and insults, right? There's no actual logic there behind the word genocide, right? It's essentially meaningless, showing that there's, just nothing going on there. Hello, Code 9, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. James, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm a bit curious about the methodology aspect. Would you want to touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, we grow the movement to make it possible, and it won't be optional, and we do the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? So we have to scientifically determine that, carry it out, and in the meantime, we can start with animals, right? So that's easy, we can just start doing that straight away, and work towards a planet with no animals, while researching potentially universe-wide extinction. The dream would be a universe with no life, no possibility of life ever again, and no possibility of suffering, because life should not exist in unsafe conditions like this world. So, yeah, it's the only right thing to do, basically, the only way to provide safety from suffering, so that nobody is born into a terrible life.
Yeah, so you talked about advocacy, which seems to be fair. But I want to know, what is the method of the process of extinction itself, right? At the advocacy aspect, we get it. But what method are you using to extinct these creatures?
Yeah, just whichever is the best method, right? So we have to determine that and use it. So we have to do the science, not predict the science, right? People are constantly making this mistake every single day, right? All the time, non-stop, right? They're asking, what is the science going to be? But no, we have to do the science, right? It's like saying, well, what's the cure to cancer? Well, go and do some science, right? And find the answer. Don't ask me, basically.
So how do you deal with inventions of certain vaccines? Certain vaccines, we actually get, these compounds from animals and living things. And so if you're saying that we are to somehow first have to take away all the living creatures, animals, then how is it the most safest way if it leaves human beings vulnerable and we can't get the vaccines we need anymore?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in that case, we would keep those animals around. So the thing is that universe-wide extinction takes priority over Earth extinction. So it's more important, meaning that the humans and the animals on Earth are subject to the needs of the most vast and thorough extinction possible, basically. So that's the top priority. The most important thing is the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? The most safety that we can provide. So every animal and every human is subject to that, right? And the needs of it. And so, yeah, some people, some animals will suffer for the greater good. And yeah, we might have to keep some animals around to exploit them, potentially. And, but we're going to be doing that with humans as well, right? We need more humans. We need to keep reproducing with humans because, again, if we allow humanity to go extinct, then we can't do the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? So that would be the worst extinction. We need to work towards the best one. So in the same way we're going to be exploiting humans, we're going to be exploiting animals potentially as well. And none of that's good, but it is the lesser of two evils. And so that is another thing which people really, really struggle to understand, is that, the best solution, the best way forward is that which is, the most responsible one in relation to, suffering and safety. And so it might look ugly, it might be uncomfortable, you might not like it, we might have to exploit some humans and some animals. But people really struggle to understand that that's the right thing to do when the alternative is even worse. And so people constantly make this mistake where they're like, no, we can't do that because it's wrong. And it's like, well, you're not thinking about what that's actually going to be preventing, right? You're just looking at what's in front of you instead of thinking about the bigger picture. So yeah, we do have to be prepared to make difficult decisions, to do things that we don't want to do, to cause suffering, to exploit others, right? But ultimately, if that's the only way to do it, and the only way to end all suffering, and the only way to really prevent suffering, and to do the only right thing, essentially, then we have to do it.
In this whole process, does it have reason in the process? Okay, let me break it down. So we know there is one problem, and the problem is that there is multiplications in species on daily basis. There is increment in terms of population and so on and forth. And so the more we delay, the more there are more life being born on the earth. There are more living organisms that comes into the equation. And there's multiplication going on as we talk right now. So the question is, if really it's about minimizing suffering, why do you wait another 100 years to get it done? There are projections.
To do a proper job.
Yeah, but are you not increasing the chances of people, the conscious experience of suffering for the next 100 years?
Yeah, but who cares, right? You're doing exactly what I just said, right? You're not thinking about what it's going to actually achieve and how much suffering it's going to prevent.
Okay. Is there any, I don't know if you've ever been asked this before, but mostly when I come across ideas of this nature, as in somehow to be in compliance with lawmakers and policymakers, they try to put a little bit of twist to tone down the idea so that they don't get held in custody or get arrested and so on, right? With your idea, I see that there's a little bit of a toned down version that's saying that, hey, don't analyze yourself now. You don't need to commit suicide because in the future, we're going to figure the best way to do it. Isn't that a smart way to just avoid policymakers from getting you arrested for inciting violence and so on?
The thing is, we're not inciting violence, right? We're actually against violence. We're against self-harm. In my videos, I'm literally telling people not to do self-harm, right? And to do activism instead. So there's actually nothing illegal about what we're doing. We're not calling for violence. We're not calling for self-harm. We're calling for peaceful activism and to just simply grow the movement with peaceful messaging. It's as simple as that. And yeah, we are saying that eventually there will be, extinction. But the thing is that legally speaking, it has to be a clear and imminent threat. So at the minute, there's no way a government would take, the probability of extinction happening realistically, right? They're not going to take it seriously because even if we are serious, we don't pose a threat right now. And so because of that, legally speaking, at least in the United Kingdom, right, it's probably different in other countries. In the UK, it is perfectly legal and okay to advocate for, rounding up humans, hunting them down, and making sure we get every last one and making them safe, basically. Yeah, you can. It sounds crazy, but you can do it, basically, because we're not advocating for anyone to do it now. That's simply about the logic of what we will have to do in the future. And to be honest, if they're going to arrest us, then let them do it, right? And it's probably going to happen anyway. But in terms of watering it down, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's good to let people know the truth, to be clear and transparent. And that's why, I'm not afraid to say, we'll be hunting them down, right? Rounding them up. But obviously we'll be doing it in an ethical way. But the point is, we do have to make it clear that, yeah, you have to get every single last human. You have to make sure you found every single last one. If they're hiding in bunkers, you have to go and get them and make them safe, basically. And yeah, it's kind of funny in a way because it sounds so crazy, but it is actually the only right thing to do. And we do need to explain that to people, I think.
Yeah, my argument, which probably I know definitely you disagree with me, is that the whole peace framework that is added to this particular idea is to safeguard the advocates on this particular idea for the time being. Because here you seems to postulate I mean, what's the most greatest atrocity that can happen to a person? I mean, everyone will argue that the most valuable thing in this world is life, your life, the ability, your conscious experience, right? And so if the idea is propagating that the termination of this conscious experience, right, is what solves the problem of suffering, right? Implicit, right, in this idea, there is a logical progression that will lead every thinking human being to see that, okay, I can't wait for a global, extinction because I'm currently right now I'm on my bed and I'm suffering. So why don't I just end mine at least? Right.
Yeah, well,
And so
but again, we're telling people not to do that, right? Don't end
yeah,
your
yeah.
own suffering, end all suffering.
The problem is that implicit in the idea, right, the seed is already sown in their head, because when a person is suffering and the method is to stay away from suffering, the only thing to do is to take their lives away, right? And so I can see you're tuning the idea down, and that's very smart. I can see that, but
I don't think I am. I think I'm, toning it up, really.
Yeah, but you were somehow smuggling in, systems that is in compliance with lawmakers, right, to avoid accountability, right?
Well, no,
For example,
there's nothing that we're saying that's illegal anyway.
That's the whole point.
But we're not actually having to make effort to really comply with the law. It's kind of already complies with the law, at least in the United Kingdom. Anyway, Code 9, thank you for coming up. We are going to move on to somebody else. We've got quite a lot of people in the queue. Let's try and get Nash up. We've got right, I'm going to start from the bottom of the queue, work our way up. Okay, we've got someone already. Nash, hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm sorry, English is not my first language, but I would like to ask you, first of all, you said you're against suicide and self-harm, but I've seen a video of yours saying that you, if you want to kill yourself, take your friend also with you. I don't know if it was just...
No, so I never actually say to take other people with you. I say to, end all suffering, not just your own, basically.
Well, anyways, that is what I saw from one video. I wanted to ask, more practical, not exactly the ideology, because I think I get what you mean. But do you suggest something like concentration camps, or how are you going essentially to force people who don't want to die?
Well, it doesn't matter how we do it, right? That we have to do it. We'll just find a way to do it. We'll do it in the best way. I think a lot of people have an unhealthy obsession with how we're going to do the human extinction. It's not really important. It's just some kind of, interest that people have, some sort of curiosity. It doesn't matter how you do it, right? You just do it ethically, whatever. But, we're not going to leave it and be patient with people. It's not going to be optional. It will be done as fast as possible to provide safety, right? Safety is not something that you should just, be flagrant with, right? You should provide safety as soon as you can. So we're only going to keep humanity in danger of suffering as long as is necessary for the most vast and thorough extinction possible. Again, if we can replace ourselves with robots and they can keep doing the science and working on extinction, then we could just have human extinction. And maybe by then you'll have a personal assistant robot and they can do the extinction for you, right? You know, they'll be doing your washing and your laundry, and then, you know, they'll take out a gun from underneath the towel or something. Who knows, right?
Yeah, but okay, let's say we force the people, okay, the people who don't want to do it, because possibly most of them by the end of the movement will want to do it. What about the animals? Because isn't it kind of selfish to say that we will kill all the animals just to prevent human suffering? Because
No,
animals
it's not about human. No. It's not about human suffering. Animals suffer as well.
Yes, they suffer, but they eventually forget about it. It's not the same as being so overly conscious about it.
No. It's not. It doesn't work like that. So no, animals do suffer, and they would be better off not suffering.
Yes, I do get that, but they don't have a choice in the matter. We do.
Yeah, exactly. So we should save them from that terrible fate.
Okay, let's say that we do this. Okay, all life is extinct from the Earth, and we have robots. If it's done with AI, eventually, if the programs are still running, the Earth is gonna run out of water. So how are we gonna make that work? Are we gonna find a more sustainable?
We'll leave it to the scientists, right? So don't try and do the science from your bedroom now. That's the worst thing you can do, right? It's like if you said, well, how are we going to do universe-wide extinction? It's like, what do you want me to do? Pull out a whiteboard, start doing the mathematics? Like, no, we just try and do it, and we'll work towards making the science possible, right? We don't do the science right now.
So you're making a movement, but you don't have any suggestions.
Well,
you don't.
You're making the same mistake of saying, it's like saying if you want to cure cancer, then you have to know what the cure is now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
the opposite of what you should do.
I understand what you're saying, but as a movement, have you not found people to start researching these things?
Yes.
Okay. Also, wait, I had another question. Yes. What about, you say you wanted to do it as fast as possible, but you're also going to take your time with it so you can find the best way.
Yeah. It's urgent. It's urgent to do it, right? Obviously, we need to do it in the best way possible without rushing it. But even though we don't want to rush it, it's still urgent to do it.
Okay, I just have one more practical thing to ask, which I don't know. Is it not possible to just prevent people from being born and see what we're going to do with the rest? Like,
no. The thing is, if you sterilize everyone, it only helps the next generation, right? It doesn't help anyone that's suffering today or tomorrow.
Yes, but do you think, how much time do you estimate it will take to reach total?
We don't, right? Again, you're trying to do the science now. You want me to predict the future, basically. Like, it doesn't work like that.
No, I just want to know.
Yeah, well, why? Why do you want to know that? I want to know as well, but you know, I also want to wish for extinction today. But you know, I don't spend my time, you know, wasting my time on things like that are impossible to know.
Well, okay, thank you.
Yeah, the extinction will happen as soon as enough people get together to make it happen, right? So if you want extinction to happen, start doing activism, grow the movement, right? You know, you can just sit around hoping for it, but that doesn't make it happen faster, does it? So take action, do activism, start making videos today. Okay, next person coming on, we have Bleach. We have Ichigo. Hello.
Thank you for letting me in. I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. My first question is, how did you come up with this idea?
I didn't.
Why and why?
I didn't. I didn't start the movement. It was started by somebody else. I joined a year ago.
You joined a year ago. And did you have a family that you love, or maybe somebody that hurts you that makes you want to join with them?
No.
So you just come up with this
I
idea.
joined because it's the right thing to do, right? It made sense that it's possible and the right thing to do.
You think it's the right thing to do.
It is the
The
right thing
problem
to do.
is, like 1 year ago, I have a problem with myself, and I feel like I want to end all suffering from this world. I want to kill all of them, all of human. But 1 year later, it's getting better. My life is getting better. I go to church. I
So you
talk to a lot
became
of people,
selfish,
and
you stopped caring about those who suffer. Nice, that's a great story. So you became selfish, you stopped caring about the victims, and started to only care about yourself. What a lovely,
it's not about.
heartwarming story. And just think about all of the victims who will suffer as a result.
No. It's like we share them that the world could be better.
Yeah. So you just ignore the victims and say, they'll be fine. And suddenly everything's okay. That's you're lying to yourself, basically. You're fooling yourself, right? You're lying to yourself, oh, God is going to take care of everything. God ain't helping nobody, right? You have to help yourself. All right, let's see who else we have. Let's bring someone else up. Next person coming on. No, they've ghosted us. We've got Chris coming up. Christopher. No, they've ghosted as well. Okay, we have Aya in the queue. Let's get Aya up. Hello, Aya. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, I agree with your idea. I gave it a thought at first. It was kind of striking because it seems extreme, but if you think about it, do people really know suffering to understand that this is a probable cause? I've been homeless for many years of my life. I've seen other people who have been homeless, and homelessness is not natural. No one's supposed to be homeless in this world. No one's supposed to be working a 9 to 5 in this world. No one's supposed to be paying taxes in this world. No one's supposed to be paying for fruit and water in this world. The way the world's going right now, everyone under the sun is suffering in some type of way. And I do think that naturally, extinction is inevitable, to be honest with you.
Right. But the thing is, it's not inevitable, right? That's leaving it to chance. That's not good enough for the victims of suffering to just say, they'll go extinct eventually. That's going to allow a lot of suffering in the meantime. And that's not ethical. That's not acceptable. And we shouldn't just say, screw them, let them suffer. The sun will burn them to death in any way eventually, right? That's a very unempathetic, cruel mentality, right? To just let them suffer. So that's not fair. It's not right. And you're also just leaving it to chance, right? There's no guarantee that life will go extinct by itself. Okay. Humans could very easily colonize other planets and, fill them with more animals. Okay. So you can't just leave it to chance like that. That's really irresponsible, basically.
Right. So, I think that in the case of mass extinction, we should be able to advanced civilization that comes after us to put away. I'm sorry?
What do you mean comes after us?
Well, I think organically on this planet, intelligent life forms are happen.
Right. I'm going to stop you there, okay? Sounds like you're crazy, basically, right? It sounded like she was going to talk about accelerationism, right? Oh, let's go extinct and allow another species to evolve and take over after us, right? This is some next level insanity level stuff, right? Who thinks that's a good idea, right? That's just crazy. But accelerationism is a poorly defined ideology it's just an insanity thing, really. It's crazy. Hello, how you doing, Chris? Chris, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, how's it going?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
I'm doing brilliant.
Cool.
So, how I believe that total extinction, that's about as infeasible as creating technology that could create, eternal joy for everyone, right?
But we've already made several species of animals go extinct.
Yeah, but you can't just say that we can make everyone.
Yeah, you're finished. Like, that's it. You've just been owned, basically. You're trying to say that it's easier to engineer heaven, a literal heaven with omniscience than it is to do a little bit of extinction, even though people have been doing that with sticks and stones, right? So upside down logic there, mate, right? Completely upside down logic. You think it's easier to create heaven than it is to, do what people have done to, like the dodo, right? Come on. Hello, how's it going?
We're doing fine. I have a defeater for your argument.
Go for it.
Now, in order for a moral principle to be true, it must be universally true, correct?
Don't know, not necessarily.
So, if it's not necessarily true universally, then that statement itself is true.
The thing is, you're abstracting. You're abstracting.
I'm establishing the laws of thought.
All right, just chill out. You're abstracting. So that's actually.
Of course, we're reasoning abstractly.
No, I'm just going to mute you for a second because you're yapping a bit. Okay. So this is what I mean when I say that, yeah, philosophy is bad for you. Big Red Button's got it immediately. So philosophy will rot your brain and you will try and abstract things into oblivion, basically. And it essentially ends up removing you from the real world. It removes you from being able to actually think properly. And you end up just becoming obsessed with like really abstract logical rules that don't actually apply to real life whatsoever. So the only solution to that is to just talk about real things, avoid just insanely convoluted logical like rules and things like that.
So I could address all the contradictions in that, or I could go back to the argument. What should you rather?
Well, we're here to talk about extinction. So let's see if you can debate extinction instead of abstract, logical, bizarre, hypothetical rules.
Okay, so even though you use nothing but abstract, bizarre, hypothetical rules to make that.
No, I don't. But look, you're literally coming on.
No,
and talking
I don't.
About
it's a negation. That's a
not
universal rule.
To
that's an abstract.
It's not. Anyway, do you want to actually engage or not?
Yes, I do. In order for a proposition to be moral, the proposition must be moral without exception. In order for
what I'm talking about.
No, excuse me. In order for it to be moral without exception, it must be universal.
Okay, this is where you're going wrong. You're focusing on abstract rules.
That means if
you need to focus on
the
something
proposition
real.
itself is not universally applicable,
focus on something
there are
real,
exceptions.
right? Focus.
Now, in
on
your
something-
case, your argument.
Focus on something real, okay? If you just talk about abstract hypotheticals like that, it doesn't apply to anything. And essentially, what he's trying to do is to establish confusing rules, basically, with no context. And so that's just really unhelpful. And again, it's because he can't actually just argue against the logic, right? The useful thing for him to do would be to say, right, well, not everyone is suffering, so I don't think you can apply that to everyone. But instead, he didn't even mention the word suffering or extinction. He wanted to go off on some, insanely abstract hypothetical tangent that has nothing to do with anything, and you're just going to end up arguing over definitions and word games that have nothing to do with anything, nothing to do with the topic, and it's just going to be frustrating, it's going to be confusing, it's going to be a waste of time, and it's not actually going to progress the conversation in any way, shape, or form. So philosophy is genuinely bad for you. It's actually worse than brain rotting, right? Because it basically makes you go insane. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, good, thank you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, sorry, all loud and clear. Yeah, do you have any questions?
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to think, I don't want to sound condescending, but I used to think about extinction and I was for it. In fact, there was a person on YouTube named Mendham, and he was what it was called an ethylist, which is life spelled backwards.
I'm well aware.
And
yeah.
I was very compelled by his arguments. They all made a lot of sense, and that suffering is terrible, which it is. And then I guess I changed my mind because, and I know this is going to sound really corny, but love. And I guess my question is to you.
I understand. So ethylism for you was about your own life, right? So extinctionism is different. We think about all of the other people who are suffering, all of the other animals that are suffering. That's our problem with ethylism and antinatalism and philosophy as well. It's all completely selfish, right? It's all about yourself and only caring about yourself. And yeah, people see ethylism as a way to just understand their own life, essentially. But that's wrong. Understanding that life is bad, we should provide safety for everyone, for the entire world, right? So
Yes.
ethylism is not a good educator, right? It's not a good source of education. It promotes selfishness, essentially.
Well,
I've debated with him.
I'm trying to promote antinatalism. I guess I was just trying to ask you, do you feel that the suffering that's present in the world presently, which I know there could be quite a bit that I don't even know about, is so
no amount
much
of suffering is okay, right? No amount.
that life itself is not worth that amount of suffering and should end because of it?
There's no ratio that makes it worth it, right? So people have this confusion that there's a ratio of, happiness to extreme suffering. But actually, there's no amount of ice cream that you can enjoy which makes up for a child or an animal being tortured to death by a psychopath, right? It's not like 10 ice creams and suddenly it's okay. No amount of happiness can ever make up for extreme suffering. There's no ratio. So the only thing that makes sense is a zero tolerance policy on child abuse, animal abuse, extreme suffering, lives in hell. Whereas most people have an infinite acceptance right now. They say, it's fine, bit of child abuse, bit of animal abuse, it's not too much, so it's fine. But so essentially they're seeing the victims as fodder, basically, right? You're suffering so that I can have fun. They're seeing the victims as just going into the meat grinder and producing the meat that they can enjoy. So when they see the victims of suffering, it's like, well, I'm enjoying, the meat that's coming out of your suffering. So that's all you are to me. You're just a way for me to enjoy at your expense, right? The pro-life mentality is truly evil, right? The world is just a meat grinder with children and animals being tortured horrifically to death. And, the privileged ones are sat on top of the meat grinder, enjoying the sausage that comes out, and then trying to say we shouldn't turn the meat grinder off. It would be unethical to do that.
You don't feel that there's a way that suffering could be solved or eradicated in the future so that it...
No, we should have a zero tolerance policy on meat grinders and cruelty.
Okay, I just wanted to know your position. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, so most people, like Timbo tried to do at the end there, most people use the victims as a stepping stone, right? For pleasure, right? Maybe there's a slightly less cruel way we can use their suffering for benefit, right? No, right? It's like, well, surely we shouldn't end all slavery. Think of the money we make from slavery. It's like, no. End all slavery, end all suffering. And it's like, oh, well, can't we phase it out, If we just end slavery immediately, I'll lose my job, I'll lose my house. We can't end slavery just like that. It's like, okay, well, you're caring more about your selfish needs than, those who are being tortured, essentially. So yeah, they don't need to be tortured anymore. And you can't say, oh, just a little bit of torture, though. I'm having a good time over here. No, not at all, right? It should be the exact opposite. So we shouldn't say, oh, what if we don't end suffering yet? Because we can benefit. No, we have to end all suffering as fast as possible, as urgently as possible, as thoroughly and as vastly as possible. People are just, the idea of helping the victims and the sufferers in this world is like, it offends people, right? They're like, ugh, take away from my pleasure for their safety. What, are you serious? And I wish that was a joke or an exaggeration, but actually it's true. So, yeah, we are dealing with essentially the most evil world possible. We do live in the worst world possible with the worst people possible. Now, people are essentially completely evil completely bordering on psychopathic, definitely evil, though, right? You know, undoubtedly, most 99% of humans are evil, okay? And that is just a fact. That is just a true fact. But ultimately, we shouldn't blame them for it because at the end of the day, that's just how they evolved, right? They didn't choose to be like that. They've been born like that, right? Evolution and nature made them into monsters in the same way that evolution and nature made predators, spiders and lions that rip things to pieces and are cruel and selfish. Evolution and nature did the exact same thing to humans. So, even Hitler, for example, he didn't choose to be born. And it's absolutely the case that his environment and his genetics led him to do what he did. Because, he was crazy, basically, right? He was born crazy. Not because he decided to be crazy, but because he was born that way. And so are animals that kill other animals, so are humans that kill other humans, right? It's about your genetics, it's about evolution, making us animalistic. So ultimately, most people are animals, basically, right? They are monsters. They just happen to be able to talk, right? You are basically talking to like a lion or something, an apex predator, right? You might as well be talking to a psychopath or a tiger, yeah, but it can talk, basically. That's what humans essentially are, unfortunately, right? But most humans support animal exploitation and cruelty, human exploitation and cruelty. It's a very thin sheath of false charade, basically, that makes everything look okay, makes the world seem like it makes sense, but actually it's just a meat grinder of pure cruelty and pure torture, basically. So yeah, the way that we extinctionists see the world is that none of this should exist. This is all a complete disaster, that anything exists. It's a catastrophe. The entire world and human civilization is just a joke, basically. It's just a thin joke. It shouldn't exist. Humans are just completely insane animals, basically, running around, just causing suffering, exploiting animals. It's just a disaster, basically, right? It's just a complete disaster of a planet, disaster of a world, and absolutely none of it should exist. There's no justification, nothing good here at all that makes it worth existing whatsoever, really. Okay, let's get our guest on. We've got someone in the queue. We've got Eldon Law. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, brother, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
I've never heard of an extinctionist before. You're the first time, and especially on my FYP. So how did you get here?
The movement started 4 years ago, the pro-extinction movement, and I joined
A
1 year ago.
pro-extinction movement?
Yeah, and I joined 1 year ago.
What does that mean? Pro-extinct? You want people to be extinct?
Yeah, so our movement is committed to carrying out total extinction of all life.
No, this is satire.
No, it's the only right thing to do, right? Because it ends all suffering.
Is this like a Satanism type of thing or some type of cult?
No, it's an atheistic movement of rational people.
Rational? Oh. Okay, well, I guess that's
Let
just
me
as
ask you a
fair.
question. Why do you think we support total extinction?
Oh, I couldn't fathom you, my friend. You would actually be the polar opposite of myself, where I'm a uber.
Can you try to imagine one reason why?
Oh, yeah, that I could probably do. I'm good at imagining things. Yeah, I could see how a very jaded and a hurt view at the world could lead one down the opposition and thought process of thinking that the only way out is extermination. But first of all, it seems too easy and so boring. like this is such an awesome journey, and there's so many different aspects and people.
Yeah, the thing is, it's about having a zero tolerance policy on suffering and cruelty.
Oh no, well that's just ridiculous. You gotta take the suffering to enjoy the good parts, my friend. You gotta have the aspect.
So you think having
I'm
a
sorry.
zero tolerance policy on like child abuse, you think we shouldn't have a zero tolerance policy on that?
No, that's extremism. I'm not too much of an
So
extremist on anything.
you genuinely think that making child abuse impossible would be a bad thing?
No, well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the broad, that is impossible. That is in itself
That's not what
is
I'm asking you.
impossible.
That's not what I'm asking you. So you're dodging the question now.
No, okay. Hypothetically speaking, then
So
yes,
you're
that would
dodging the
be
question
that.
again. You're dodging the question again.
No, I know. I'm
So
answering. What? I mean, I'm saying, given your scenario, hypothetically, yes. If it was possible, that would be great.
you see,
But
that's funny because at the start of
unfortunately,
it's funny because at the start of the conversation you said it would be easy to do, and now you're saying it's impossible. And you also said, yeah, child abuse is fine, and now you're saying no, it's not fine. So it seems like you're actually just very confused. Very confused. What do you think? Is that not the case? Just pure confusion going on here, right? At the start, he said it would be very easy to do extinction. Now he's saying it's impossible. Okay. Well, thank you for coming up anyway. Let's see who else we've got in the queue. But these people struggle to understand the reason for why extinction is a good thing and is necessary. And, he proved it perfectly. They can't even begin to think why it would be a good thing,
Hi.
even though it ends all suffering. Hello, how you doing?
Why do you think extinction is good? I just want to ask.
Because it provides safety.
For who?
Everyone.
Yeah, who are these people?
What do you want names?
Yeah, tell me.
Well, I think the most common name in the world is Mohammed. So a lot of Mohammeds would probably be safe.
Whoa. What do you mean, Muhammad? Yo, what the fuck?
Just answering
Why
your
Muhammad?
question.
Yo, what?
Just answering your question.
Okay, but why that name?
You asked me to provide names.
Okay, but why that specific name? I want to ask,
Because there's just so many Mohammeds in the world, right?
Yeah, that's actually racist, man. Come on.
I'm pretty sure someone told me that Mohammed is the most common name in the world, right?
Yes, it is.
So there you go. A lot of Mohammeds would be safe from suffering if we had total extinction. Yalla.
Man, that's racist. Come on, you can't do that.
How is that racist?
Like Muhammad, that's so fucking specific,
It's not. It's literally the least specific possible, right? It's the most common name in the world. I mean, look, he asked for names, right? He said, who is it going to help? Okay, well, what do you want names? He said, yes. Okay, it's going to help a lot of Mohammeds, right? It's going to help a lot of John Smiths, a lot of, I don't know, Jessicas or something. Hello, how you doing? Okay. Yeah, it's not racist to say a name, right? Mohammed is just a name, right? It's I wasn't talking about the prophet. I was just talking about the name. Okay, so we've got nobody in the queue right now, so let's take some questions from the chat. How is non-existence safe? Well, in the same way you rest in peace, you can no longer suffer. You are safe from suffering. And what should be more important, being alive or being safe from a life of pure hell? Well, if you don't prioritize that and you just say, yeah, just be alive, well, guess what? You'll end up in a life of pure hell. That's not a good thing. It's not what you want, okay? So life should not exist in unsafe conditions like this world. The vast majority of life born into this world gets tortured to death as children, right? Over 99% of wild animals get eaten alive as babies. You wouldn't want to experience that yourself. You wouldn't want your mother to experience that or anyone else that you care about. And yet people are happy for it to happen to others just because you don't know them. So that's because of selfishness, really. I think in some sense, people have like a hierarchy of needs, but they've evolved for it to be unfillable, right? Like an unfillable hole. Like look at Elon Musk, he has $1 trillion and it's still not enough, basically. So humans are extremely selfish It's never enough for them. It's me, me, me. I want more. I want more. Even if you get, even with $1 trillion, it's still, I want more, 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 more. I don't care about anyone else. I don't care about animals. I only care about myself. I want more, more, more. So basically the world is full of these toddlers, and they're causing and allowing extreme suffering everywhere. They're, exploiting and abusing animals horrifically, exploiting humans horrifically. So we live in a world of irresponsible people who support life existing in the worst conditions possible. A world of irresponsible people who have no concern for what conditions life exists in, right? Who don't care if it's in the worst conditions with the worst suffering. So there's essentially nothing that will actually move humans to do the right thing. Nothing will sway their hearts. No amount of tears or screams and pain will actually make them care and say, oh, that looks painful, that looks bad, let's help them. No amount of cruelty will make them actually care. No amount of screams or misery will make them say, you know what, this isn't okay. So humans are essentially oppressors, they are tyrants, they are evil. And part of the problem with that is that they live in a bubble where they tell each other it's okay, and they come up with coping mechanisms, and they live in this little fantasy bubble with their cities and their towns where everything seems okay. And you could almost fool yourself into thinking that the world is okay, that everything's being taken care of, that everyone is being looked after, and that nobody is being tortured, exploited, or abused, and that everything is simply okay. But that's completely untrue. It's a complete myth. It's a lie, a fantasy. So that's what we need to understand, is that everybody is living in a bubble. Everybody is living in a fantasy, a delusion, a lie. It's a complete just fake bubble that they're living in, where everything is okay, everybody is being taken care of. You don't need to do anything. There's no moral obligation. There's no urgent need for you to do activism. You can just do whatever you want. You can be as lazy as you want. You can be as selfish as you want. You don't need to do anything. You just chill. And if anyone ever says that we should, help those who are suffering, then just tell them to shut up, basically, and you just get back to Netflix and chill out. So we have to understand that, yeah, it's a selfish fantasy bubble that people are living in. It's a selfish, lazy thing where it's like, oh, I can't be bothered to help anyone. That extinction, that sounds wrong. Haha, I'm going to go back to Netflix now. So, yeah, look, even if you forget about extinction and just think about, animal exploitation, 99% of humans are happy for it to happen, right? They just don't care. Like, you can literally show them videos of animals being tortured horrifically, and they're just like, yeah, a bit of animal torture. Who cares? Care about animal torture? Ha! That's irrational. So they're just monsters, essentially. They're just complete monsters. But part of the fantasy bubble that they're living in means that they don't actually realize that they are monsters, right? So humanity has actually evolved to be monsters, to have monstrous mentalities without even realizing it, right? So they actually believe all of the lies that they tell themselves, like, maybe the animals don't suffer that badly, and oh, we've been doing animal exploitation for thousands of years, so it must be okay. And they actually have started to convince themselves of all of these lies, basically, and these delusions. But again, it's just to serve their selfish, lazy bubble of activism. Ending suffering, that sounds unethical, right? So it's just, they just don't want to do anything. And you tell them logic and explain to them why it's right, and they'll just make up a reason, find an excuse to go back to being lazy, right? But, you could find any reason to do activism, right? Look, obviously, extinction is the only correct thing to do activism for, but there's lots of different charities. There's LGBT, there's racism, whatever. You pick one, right? There's politics, there's child this, animal that. And people still won't do anything, right? So even for pro-life charities, they still won't do activism. They still won't get off their bum and help others. So there is nothing. People will not stand for anything, and they will fall for everything, basically, right? Yeah, I mean, just the fact alone that humans don't do activism, don't get organized, don't try and make the world a better place, that guarantees that we live in the worst world possible, essentially. We live in the worst world possible, and it's because people are just not willing to make the world a better place. They're leaving it to the criminals, they're leaving it to the politicians, they're leaving it to Jeffrey Epstein, and they're saying, it's okay, I'll just watch Netflix. Meanwhile, the criminals are looting the government, they're looting the country, they're causing suffering, they're allowing suffering, right? James, do you ever stop spewing your script? No, actually, that's the beauty of it. The script keeps going, and we have 80 people watching and listening and loving it. So, yeah, we'll keep on going, I think, actually. Goy wants a rematch. Could you cook him again? Medium well. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I've got him. I've sent him an invite to come on. Let's see if he will accept it. What made you realize extinction is the only thing? It's the maximum prevention of suffering, right? It's about making suffering impossible. Goy, hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good, man. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So basically, the end of the last debate was basically, suffering is good because it prevents harm. And then you just said, I don't know, you said it was ridiculous or something like that.
Harm is good because it prevents harm.
No, suffering is good because it prevents harm. Suffering
So
is a quaily of harm.
Harm is good because it prevents harm.
No, suffering is a quaily produced by harm.
Suffering
right?
is a form of harm.
No, it's a preventative measure for harm.
So suffering isn't a form of harm. So if I make someone
Suffering
suffer,
is a
that's
detection
okay.
of harm.
So if I make someone suffer, that's okay.
No, it's not okay because you're harming them, right?
Oh, there you go.
Suffering is the detection of harm.
Now you get it.
Suffering and harm are separate, right?
Look, you just
harm is a stimulus, right?
So you're saying
harm
you're saying suffering and harm is separate. So when I said, so if I make someone suffer, that's bad, you said, yeah, because you'd be harming them. And now he's saying that they're separate, different things. He's just cooked himself. He's just completely cooked himself, right? This guy's a joke. What on earth is he talking about? So if I make someone suffer,
why do you meet me, bro? Because they're both different. I just told you why they're different. Okay, wait. So is a feeling, right? Is pain the same as burning?
Oh my god. Yeah,
Is pain the same as burning?
Sorry for you. I just feel sorry for you.
Yeah, but is pain the same as burning?
Who knows?
No, it's not. No, it's not the same as burning.
Who knows?
Obviously.
Who cares?
Who knows? Who cares? So you're running away from the question because it just destroys your point.
Yeah,
exactly. We're running away from the question. Yeah.
How does it destroy my point?
Because you said suffering is harm. It's the same thing, and I just told you, right?
Burning.
No. You said. I said no. I said suffering is a detection of harm.
No. So then I said, so if I make someone suffer, it's okay, and you said no because that would be harming them.
Yeah, because to make someone suffer, you have to harm them. For them to detect harm, you have to cause harm.
So, but the suffering is bad as well, though, right?
Yeah, suffering is harm because it causes harm, right? So the reason why suffering is bad is because
it causes harm.
All right, define bad. Like good and bad. What are they ontologically?
Let me ask you: how many philosophy books have you read? Right?
Zero.
How much brain rot have you done to yourself? How much?
Is this an ad hominem?
How much
Or are
Jordan
you just attacking my
Peterson
character now instead of the argument?
No.
But now you're pivoting
How much
from the
Andrew
argument and
Tate
attacking me.
and Jordan Peterson have you been watching?
Why are you attacking me instead of the argument?
I knew it. I got you, right? I got you. Yeah.
You didn't get me,
I
but
got you, right? Exactly. It's gibberish. Shay Tom, thank you. Everyone else, yeah. It's just philosophy is brain rot, right? They come up here and they start talking like it's as if you've just basically cut their brain in half or something and they can still talk somehow. That's what philosophy sounds like. It sounds like someone with half a brain trying to talk. Right? Basically true. Burning is a form of pain. Yeah, what are you talking about? Okay, so we have nobody in the queue right now. So if anybody wants to join, now's your chance. Let's get you up. Let's have a conversation. Hopefully you're an intelligent person this time. James, do you want mass extinction for all of humanity or only the ones who are suffering? No, unless you do total extinction of everyone, there will always be more suffering. You can't just get rid of those who are suffering. And you also can't guarantee that the environment is safe for life to exist. And only extinction can provide total safety, whereas even omniscience, we can't guarantee that it could provide total safety. So non-existence and extinction is the only way to do that. If you have a life form existing, it is completely impossible to guarantee safety for it, right? It is physically impossible. Whereas if there is nothing there to suffer, it guarantees safety from suffering, right? It guarantees that there is nothing to suffer, that it can't suffer. So you are better off not existing. It is the only form of total safety. But we have to provide that fairly for everyone with a total extinction. Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Yes, hello. Do you have any questions?
Hi. I do have a question. Do you think that there could be a purpose for this
No.
suffering for the overall?
No.
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 I would. In my opinion, I do agree in the sense that like life is just suffering. Life on Earth here is suffering because have I met someone that isn't suffering? Almost everyone's suffering on antidepressants and just have to just mask it and follow society's rules, or consequences, even more suffering, jail time, or whatever the consequences that they think that you deserve.
Yeah.
But I like to think that there is hope that maybe life is taking its course as it should.
There is no hope. So the way that you're framing it, it sounds like if only life was a little bit better, then it would be okay. But no, that's wrong, right? So it's not about improving conditions. It's not about having a better world. There is no point at which the world will be fully safe, right? It is physically impossible to provide safety for life in this world. And so only non-existence is the right thing. You cannot have life existing in safety. It's just, there is no way to do it. So, and it will never get to a point where suddenly it's okay. There's no way to do that, right? There's no way to guarantee safety. It's
Right.
it's physically impossible, basically.
It's not. Yeah, right. You're right.
So
But you don't think
we
there's a
have to
greater
understand
purpose?
that life should never exist, right? It's not about complaining that life's not good enough. It's about understanding that life should not exist and that the only right thing to do is to work towards providing the safety of non-existence, right? The universe is a disaster. It's just generating life into lives of hell and suffering. So we have to do something about that. We have to work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible in order to provide as much safety from existing and living as possible.
And this is coming from a human perspective, but what if there's something more greater that we just can't understand or comprehend for
Well,
the reason of
even if there is, it's not a responsible or ethical thing to allow child abuse and animal abuse just because
Right.
there might be some reason that justifies it in the future. You know, that's based on literally nothing, essentially. So it's not actually a reasonable position.
And do you think there's any species that could evolve that doesn't allow so much suffering? I mean, I almost feel like it's impossible.
Well, it's kind of the opposite. So life actually evolves to suffer more and more. So from a single-celled organism, which basically can't suffer, it just develops more and more ability to suffer as time goes on and evolution goes on. So it will just always evolve to suffer more and more.
The complexity just increases.
Yeah, and the ability to sense things and to feel things, more sensations, essentially. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your input on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mo R. So yeah, life develops and evolves to suffer more and more, to have more complex sensations, right? More tactile touch, and you can understand the world, you can feel it better. But this only benefits the lucky ones. For the unlucky ones, it means extreme torture, right? So for 99% of life born onto this planet, they get eaten alive as babies, right? So imagine if you saw a human baby get eaten alive by dogs or something, you would probably have PTSD for the rest of your life, because it is a terrible thing. It's a horrible thing. It's like basically one of the worst things that could ever possibly happen, ever, ever, ever. And yet that is happening to animals every single day all around the world, and nobody cares, right? Nobody could even slightly cares, right? So it's discrimination, and all of human culture and mentality and psychology is built on discrimination and only caring about yourself. It's built on selfishness, and that is supported by discrimination. So we have discriminatory empathy or limited empathy, where we mostly only have empathy for ourselves, and then there's a tiny little bit left over for your friends and family, and maybe like your country or something, or your race, or your species even. But essentially, 99% of your empathy goes to yourself only. You know, think about it. Most people don't actually care about their family members that much. And, you know, it's sad, but it's true, right? They don't even care about their friends that much. It's sad, but it's true. And so most people have, well, pretty much everyone has evolved to only care about themselves and to be extremely selfish. But again, this was strictly necessary for evolution. If animals weren't evolving to be very selfish, they wouldn't survive, right? The conditions were so harsh and are so harsh that animals and humans, life forms, have to be extremely selfish as possible if they're going to have any chance at surviving. Predators, you know, animals that eat each other, they wouldn't do a very good job at surviving if they cared about the animals they were murdering, right? So they have to be selfish, to not care about their victims, to discriminate against their victims, find reasons to not care about them, and to justify their suffering, basically. And so humans are essentially just animals that have learned to speak, and we still have that terrible apathy towards others and selfishness, overwhelming selfishness that most people just simply cannot snap out of. Hello, how you doing?
All right. First of all, I wanted to say I'm a supporter and thank you so much for spreading awareness and actually sharing this movement with others. I'm 21 years old and I've been an antinatalist since I was 16, and I always had this idea of life just being all about suffering, inconvenience, being uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to put it into words. And once I actually found your TikTok, oh my God, it was such a beautiful moment for me, just because I finally felt heard. I felt that there's actually people out there that are just like me, who think alike, and it made me feel a lot less lonely. I live on the outskirts, in like a small town, and a lot of folk here, they're very simple, so I just can't connect with people. The idea itself of just like, not procreating is insane to them, and there's just no way I can share here with people the idea of total extinction, and it just hurts. It's just so annoying that people are so not open-minded about anything.
That's why you have to do online activism, right? We can reach millions of people on the internet, whereas in your own town, there's probably going to be 0 people that will support extinction, right? There's only there's only a few thousand people in the world that actually do support extinction, right? So, I mean, okay, probably there's millions actually, but in terms of those who are engaged in the community, watching the videos, commenting, there's only like a few thousand people basically. So yeah, doing online activism is the best way to find them.
Also, I have a couple of questions. So, first of all, I want to share this idea with, for example, my younger siblings or maybe younger people, but I'm not sure how to talk about it because you gotta be, I guess, careful when you talk about those kind of things, and you don't want to seem as like some very depressed guy that just wants to watch the whole world burn. It's not exactly about that. It's all about ending the suffering. So how can I spread the awareness of that to younger people?
Yeah, again, I really would focus on doing it on the internet and not doing it in real life, because
no, sorry. I don't mean IRL. I didn't mean it that I'll actually share it for like younger siblings. I mean to just like younger people in general.
Well, just you have to find a way to do it. But I think keep it simple. Explain that actually life shouldn't exist in unsafe conditions because it's not right. And, again, no animal has been able to realize that, and it's only now that we can say that and understand it, because we've evolved to be intelligent enough. So yeah, it's about making sure that life is not in dangerous conditions, and that's the right thing to do. Making sure that nobody is being tortured, that everybody is safe. And the thing is that, you know, people just don't have any standards for life. They have no standards, right? So they don't care if it's in the worst conditions with the worst suffering. That's just obviously not logical, right? It's not rational. So the only rational thing is to have the highest standards for life, where only, you know, life should only exist with certainty of safety, because the alternative is infinite danger. You can't control that. It is just unlimited and infinite danger, right? You could break the world record for worst life ever lived tomorrow, for the most pain ever experienced tomorrow, right? Nobody is safe. Everybody is in infinite danger, unfortunately. So that's a bad thing, and life shouldn't exist like that. And nature, unfortunately, is the villain. It's the problem. It appears out of nowhere and starts thrusting life into terrible suffering, essentially. So yeah, nature is the problem, and, you know, if you want life to exist, it should be in certainty of safety, nothing less than that.
I understand. It's better to just not be born at all. Another idea I wanted to share with you. Do you think it's just to be mad at your parents to bring you into this world? For a very long time, I was a very hurtful person. I was very hurt by just the whole idea of my mother bringing me into this world because, well, I wouldn't exactly call my life the worst, but I honestly remember more suffering than joy out of this life, and especially back when I was a very depressed teen. Like it was really bad. Not gonna go into that, but at that very time of my life, I used to be very, very mad about my mother, about my father for bringing me into this world. And when I had an argument about that, she didn't really say anything, and she
the thing is, right? We shouldn't be angry at our parents. We should be angry at nature, right? So nature is the reason that you got born, right? So don't blame your parents. They have been programmed by nature, essentially. So they didn't choose to be bad people. They've literally been programmed genetically to be like animals, essentially, to have kids without thinking about it, right? To be irrational. So we should try and have some empathy, some sympathy for these people, right? We should have empathy for those who have lower intelligence, lower empathy, lower rationality. And yeah, it's very easy to get angry at them because we have actually evolved to get angry at others, right? It is essentially a shortcut for intelligence. So we can survive using anger. Anger can actually be helpful for, you know, dealing with social situations and things, but there is a better way than anger, which is understanding, and understanding that they can't help it, basically, you know?
That's valid. Once I matured and got older, I understood that it's not my mother exactly who's the problem. It's just the way that life is. Yeah, it's just bad. Like the whole idea of procreation is. It just makes me sad. Anytime I walk outside or I just see people in very bad conditions, I don't think about, like, of course, I want to think about how can I help them, but I just understand you can't help everyone, and the only
You can though. That's the thing. If we work towards a system which is dedicated to helping everyone, then we can do that, and that's what we are doing at the pro-extinction movement. So we actually need to keep reproducing and procreating until we can work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible. So the best extinction possible, the biggest, the most thorough. Instead of, so antinatalists, they're doing the worst form of extinction, where it only helps your child, doesn't help animals, doesn't help anyone else's child. So we actually need to work towards the best extinction. And that's what extinctionism is about. It's, you know, Steve came up with the movement 4 years ago, and it was kind of like a breakthrough for humanity, because before that you had ethylism, which says, let's do nothing, right? Let's not solve this problem. Whereas extinctionism says, yeah, let's solve this problem. And the solution is not to do it with half measures and leaving it to chance and just don't have a kid and then that's it, you're done. No, the solution is a universal system which does help everyone by providing as much safety for as much of the world as possible from suffering and from being born into a bad life. It's the only fair thing to do.
What's your opinion about the idea of immortality?
I imagine aging will probably be cured before too long. So, yeah, I do think humans will be immortal pretty soon. No, not invincible, but immortal in terms of aging, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to happen. And, you know, we could potentially live long enough to see extinction ourselves.
All right, thank you very much. Your movement helped me a lot, and it made me feel heard, not hurt. Sorry, I'm bilingual, so it made me feel heard, and it's really nice to know that there are people who think alike. Goodbye.
Yeah. Thank you, Aiden Payne. Join our Discord, join our WhatsApp group, continue the conversation with us there. We have, you know, we have hundreds. Actually, there's like 2,000 people in our Discord now. Not all of them are active, obviously, but the Discord is active every day. You can come and talk to me and the other activists there as well. Hello, how you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
How are you, bro?
Yeah, you right?
What the fuck are you doing?
How's your suffering today? On a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm suffering so much.
Do you need extinction?
No, I hate extinction, bro. What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
It will stop your suffering.
Why are you doing this, bro?
Take your medicine. You need your medicine. Come on, take your extinction.
You need your medicine, brother.
Open up, open up, open up. 3, 2, 1. Here comes the extinction. Come on.
You're so dumb, bro.
Okay. All right, thanks for coming up. All right, let's see who else we got. James, is there something that would change your mind about extinction? I mean, the only thing that would change my mind is if, like, you know, we discover omnipotence tomorrow and find a better way to end suffering without extinction. So, you know, that's possible, but it seems unlikely, but possible. Who knows? Anything's possible, right? Okay, hello, how you doing?
James, I think you absolutely love your life. But I think you hate people.
Looks can be deceiving, and I love people.
And you love your life.
So it sounds like you're projecting.
Do you feel uncomfortable right now?
You're making me uncomfortable, yes. Hello? Okay. Well, that was
You should find some help in your. I think you should find some help.
Okay. What help are you offering? Okay, well, you know, thank you for that inspiring conversation. I will take that one to my grave. I'll never forget that debate. That was truly, you know, took me to the next level, that one did. Trixie, hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. I just had a question of when did you sort of like start up this like movement? Because I've been following you for a small while and I'm just really curious about when you started this up.
So I didn't start the movement. It started 4 years ago by somebody else, and I joined about 13 months ago.
Oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. And did you like fully agree with it at the start?
Yeah, I joined immediately. Basically, when they approached me and invited me to join the movement and said we're going to end all suffering with extinction, you know, I realized immediately it was the right thing to do, that it was possible. And I said, how can I start? You know, how can I help? And I started making videos, doing activism, joined the movement straight away.
All right, well, that was really my only question, but thank you so much, really. I was just really curious. I'm just following along and just seeing where this,
Yeah. Thank you, Trixie. So a lot of our activists who did join the movement, if not most of them, actually were desperate to join, right? They were like, how can I help? I want to help, right? This is the kind of thing that I've been looking for, right? I've been wanting something like this, desperate for something like this. I want to, fix this terrible world, right? And so, yeah, that was the case for me, and that was the case for a lot of our activists that have joined. We didn't have to struggle to convince them. It was like, oh, you want to join? Okay, calm down.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, hello, how you doing?
I want to suffer.
What?
Ah.
Are you suffering? How bad is it?
It's painful.
It sounds like 10 out of 10 suffering. Extreme suffering.
Yes.
Are you trapped in a life of extreme hell?
Exactly.
Oh my god, I want to die.
See, this is the problem we're dealing with. People are suffering in the world just like this guy. We need... Exactly, look, listen to him screaming in pain. This is why we need total extinction, okay? Think of the victims, like this poor gentleman here.
I want to end it today.
Look, he's probably got brain damage, mental disability, can't speak properly. He's probably got chronic pain, chronic pain because his brain wires are all mixed up. And we have to feel sorry for these people, right? We shouldn't just be laughing at them. We should be making them go extinct, so that they don't have to suffer anymore. Okay, Louis, hello, how you doing?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Isn't the best way to end all suffering to make everyone like infertile and everyone would just die out after a short time?
No, because that only protects the next generation. It does nothing to help those who are begging for death now. In fact, it's like an insult to them, right? It's like spitting in their face. If they're begging for death and you just sterilize them, it's truly...
you could just like execute the ones begging for death, right?
Right, but even those who aren't begging for death, they could be tomorrow. So it's better to prevent that instead of allowing it and then... So don't let them suffer and then help them, right? Just prevent them from suffering to begin with.
What's the best method in your eyes?
Extinction.
Yeah, but how?
Euthanasia.
Oh, for like everyone?
Yeah, we put the animals to sleep, we put the people to sleep, and they won't be suffering anymore.
But what about the people who want to live?
Well, basically, they can't actually consent to that, basically. They can't make an informed decision on that, so we have to do it for them. And if they were able to make an informed decision and a rational decision, then they would agree to non-existence. But they're not able to do that because they have evolved to be specifically incapable of doing that.
Yeah, because like living beings tend to want to stay alive, so
Exactly.
it would be... I mean, it also would be unethical to take their life away, right?
No, it's the ethical thing to do because it prevents suffering. It provides safety, right? So life should not exist in infinite danger. That's bad for it. So it's better for it to just simply not exist. That is safer. That's the right thing for it.
What about the people who would say like, I want to suffer and like I'm gonna take that?
Yeah, well, again, they're not actually able to consent to that properly, basically. So we in the same way that a baby or an animal can't make decisions for itself, humans are also unable to make decisions for themselves.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and if you think about it, we've evolved from animals, right? So people have a myth that we are not animals, right? That we are intelligent enough to make responsible decisions, whereas animals aren't. But that's wrong. Humans are also completely dominated by psychology that has evolved in order to limit them and to make them animalistic, right? So humans are not responsible, intelligent beings. Instead, they are quite literally irresponsible, unintelligent animals. Louis.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I don't want to disrupt anything if you want to let someone else join.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, so how do we do that with every animal? Because the thing is, we can't destroy every single animal on the planet, and
Why
at
not?
some point,
Why not?
we're not able to kill the animals deep down in the sea,
Well,
and
we can try and find a way.
but that would take very long, and that would allow a lot
It's
of
worth it.
suffering.
Yeah, it's worth it though.
Okay, because like I think if we cause everything we know exists to die, and then we kill ourselves and all that stuff, there will still be like some bacteria or
Yeah,
something
so
that's gonna
we
evolve
have to
to
the solution.
new life.
The solution is to work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? So don't rush it. Look, if we've got billions of years to prevent of extreme suffering, yeah, we can suffer for another few hundred or thousands of years to prevent that. That's the right thing to do.
Okay, so then I would say the best way is like building like a big bomb, right?
Well, no, the best way to do it is with organized activism and science. It's so you're trying to predict the science instead of doing the science. That's the opposite of science.
Oh yeah, I know, but why not a big bomb?
Because we shouldn't be narrow-minded like that.
So not a big bomb just because we're better than that?
I'm saying that's one option of many.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Then
Okay, Louis, thank you for coming up. Let's see if we've got anybody else. We've got Primal.
Oh, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So I was just wondering, how, when you say animals, do you mean literally all life forms, like micro life forms as well, or?
Yeah.
Oh, literally everything.
Yeah.
And what would you say at the minute for a viewer as myself would be the best possible way to help work towards pro-extinction?
Do peaceful activism, make videos to grow the movement, appeal for people to join the movement and to keep growing it until we have enough people to make extinction possible.
Okay, I got one more question.
Yep.
How many people would you roughly say are on board and agreeing with the pro-extinction movement at the moment?
We have about 100 activists in the Discord. And then beyond that, we have thousands of supporters.
Fair enough. Right, good to know. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for coming up. James, good evening, you handsome con artist. Good evening, Portland, you dirty little troll. James, you've probably never tried garlic bread. Yeah, garlic bread's pretty good, but it's not good enough to make life worth it. Suffering is necessary for people to appreciate happiness, but what about extreme suffering, right? Hello, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Do you have any questions for us today?
Yeah, we have a question. Why do you say we all suffer? Why?
Well, it sounds like you're suffering and like you just caused a baby to suffer as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're suffering. We can't.
I warn you, if you're doing child abuse, we are very against that on this show.
Oh my God.
We have sex with children.
Son of a... See, this is why we need total extinction. It sounded like they were abusing that child, and if not, they were probably going to educate it poorly anyway, right? So, take a joke, James. They're trolling. Yeah, obviously, Portland, you take a joke, right? Of course, I was joking about them joking. Unless you're joking about me joking about them joking. Hello, how you doing?
The psycho
Are you suffering?
I'm having yes. The psychological tour.
It sounds like you're suffering terribly. Is it extreme suffering?
Fuck, I can't.
I'm going to let you go to the hospital, okay? I don't want to stop you from receiving medical attention. Okay, we have CL coming on next. Let's bring them up. CL, hello.
Hello again. Hello, I joined yesterday. I already asked you this question, but I was kind of nervous and I couldn't really, get more information, like explain myself kind of. The question about you wanting like all animals to extinct, when you said like they suffer, do you mean like they suffer at the hands of like, other animals, like they get preyed on, or like, by humans?
Yeah.
Because for animals, I think I'm not really good at animals, okay? I'm not gonna make myself seem like, oh, like I know all of this. But what I think is like, they hunt and there's like, the pyramid like of like apex
Yeah,
predators and stuff.
over 99% of them get eaten alive as babies. Okay, it's not a good thing. It's
Yes,
very bad.
but wait, can I like continue? Like, I'm not like trying to, fight you or anything. I just want to like, cause like you saying like they die as babies, like eaten. So I'm assuming you mean by other animals. But look, for humans, we can choose what we want to do. Like you, for example, you chose to join this pro-extinction movement and make this live, but animals, I don't think they really have like that amount of intelligence to actually choose what to do.
Right,
Like it's
but
their
that
instincts.
doesn't make the suffering okay.
Yeah,
That
I'm
makes
not
it even
saying
worse.
it's okay, but I'm just saying, like it's their natural instincts. But for humans,
but it
we
sounds
can
like you're
choose what we
saying it's
want to
okay.
do. We choose to be
It
horrible.
sounds like you're saying it's okay because it's natural, but it's not.
Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's okay. I'm just, like I'm not trying to debate you or anything. I'm just like
Look,
asking.
regardless of their intellectual capability, they suffer terribly, right? They have pain receptors, they have sensations, that if you bite them, it will hurt, okay? So yeah, a lot of them are trapped in lives of hell, and they would be better off not being forced into that torture.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to ask.
Yeah. Just try and think of it this way, right? Just imagine like the animal which is suffering the worst suffering on the planet right now. Okay, it will take a bit of imagination. It will take a bit of mental processing for you to try and do this, okay? But I want you all to try and do it, right? Imagine the person and the animal, whichever of them is suffering the worst on this planet right now, right? The worst life in the world, essentially, right? Now, for most people, they're probably not going to do a very good job at imagining that. But it's kind of like looking into the gates of hell, basically, right? It's not something anyone should have to go through. And unfortunately, most people just simply ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist instead of trying to actually think about it, right? So they would rather just not do that. Hello, how you doing? Oh dear, it sounds like you're suffering terribly. I'm just going to have to block you in case your suffering is too extreme. Okay, a lot of suffering going on at the minute. All right, let's get the next guest on. Who have we got? We have some sort of Russian, maybe? No. We've got Toshi Yorkie. Okay. The trolls are inevitable, James. You'll get used to them. I know, I've gotten used to you, Portland, so I can deal with anything now. And all of a sudden I'm pro-extinction. Good. Hello. Toshi Yorkie. Okay, no, he's ghosted. Okay, we've got 64NX coming up next. Let's bring them on to the extinction zone.
What's good, bro?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hello?
Hello. Do you have any questions for us?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Do you support...
So, may I ask, why do you want... I would...
Nigger! Man, what is wrong with these people? Alright, that's another one banned. See, we have a lot of racists in this world. They cause a lot of suffering. That's just another reason why we need total extinction. People would rather just be childish and racist and offensive instead of working towards providing safety and doing the right thing for others. So, yeah, we have the worst mentalities, the worst attitudes possible right now. James, what pickup lines do you use on women I don't really need to, right? Do you really think I need pickup lines? Nah, I'm better than that. I don't need them. Hi, James. Gotta go, but I have to say hi. Hello, Hangi's wife. Let's take some more comments from the chat. So if you've got questions or comments, slap them down like you'd slap your own mother. Let's read them out. Let's respond. These trolls, why James thinks he's right and people are dumb. No, it's because people like you won't come up onto the stage and tell me why I'm wrong. It's because you know you can't, right? Joining from Kenya, and I love your idea for extinction. Yeah, go Kenya. Let's see, who else we got? James, are you suffering from constipation? Maybe, yeah, maybe. I would send my dogs to talk here. Okay, whatever that means. Portland says, I'm not a troll. Yes, you are. Justin says, can we get more trolls? Yeah, why not? Let's see, do we have any trolls in the queue right now that we can bring up? No, I think we're a bit low on trolls right now. Josie, hello, how you doing?
How are you doing, James? My question is, don't you think that instead of extinction, changing the system of competition, extraction, exploitation into a natural way, where people can live in cooperation with nature by changing the system?
Nature is evil, basically, right? Nature just causes suffering. So we have to get rid of nature entirely in order to make sure there is no suffering.
Okay.
Yeah, see, nature is the worst thing that could have ever possibly happened, right? Nature is the main enemy, the main problem. Nature essentially just forces life to exist into extreme suffering, into terrible conditions where it gets eaten alive and starves to death, gets tortured for its entire life. So nature is literally the worst thing in the world.
So, like the system we have in is like corporation system, competition, exploitation, extraction, taking advantage of everyone, nature.
I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to
Yeah.
fix the problem.
Fix the problem, yes.
That's the mistake you're making. You're trying to fix the problem. You can't, right? There is no way to provide safety for life. So life should not exist because it's not safe. And there is no way to fix that problem, right? And therefore, extinction is the only answer. If it's impossible, physically impossible, for life to be safe, then it shouldn't exist because the alternative is infinite danger, right? Life does not deserve to be forced to exist, to be born without consent into infinite danger where it can be tortured horrifically for its entire life. So only extinction is the answer.
So when we start extinction planning, it means who is going to extinct the other, like just
So
everyone has.
we're growing the movement and getting people together to work on the problem and try and solve the problem of taking over the world so that we can start doing extinction. Right, so we could start extinction today. It would be very easy. But the real problem is that we have to run the world. Otherwise, you can't do extinction with a government trying to stop you. So you have to do it as the government in order to do a proper job, to do it thoroughly, to do it in an organized way and a proper way. So that is the plan for the pro-extinction movement. It is to grow with peaceful activism until we have enough people to take over the world, start running it ethically, start doing animal extinction, no animals anymore, and start researching the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which is, making as much of the world as safe as possible. So to do the most vast and thorough extinction possible, like the best extinction possible, that means we have to push science and technology to their limits. We have to progress them, we have to advance them, we have to develop better science, better technology, and the best possible. So even if that takes thousands of years to push science to its limits, then that is the right thing to do so that we can do the most vast and thorough extinction possible with the best technology possible, the maximum safety, the maximum prevention of suffering.
Okay, okay. Thanks so much.
Okay, Josie, thank you for coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good questions. Very good questions. Moving on, we have Friction. Hello.
Yeah, hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine myself. Well, I just wanted to ask, what do you propose for solutions if you want to extend the whole human race? I mean, it's coming up to 8 billion people now, so it's going to take something of very, very large scale. I mean, are you talking about like a
most of those
nuclear
humans
war?
are just sheep, right? Most of those 8 billion humans are just sheep, essentially. They're basically NPCs. So, yeah, it's really just a small group of people usually that actually do revolutions, that do activism, that try and change the world. Most people just stay at home and don't really care. So we don't actually need that many people to take over the world and start doing extinction. But yeah, we're growing the movement by making videos and doing online activism, appealing to people, getting the message out, educating people. But we are also growing the movement by reproducing. So extinctionism is genetically based, basically. The more rationality and empathy you have, the more likely you are to have empathy for life and to understand that it shouldn't exist in terrible suffering, in terrible conditions.
Well,
So we are
unless,
reproducing to grow the movement, and we're also donating sperm to have thousands of children. And 20 years from now, there's going to be lots of new activists potentially, right? Not all of them, but if you have thousands of kids by donating sperm, there's a good chance that lots of them will become activists because they'll have a similar level of intelligence and empathy that we do.
well, I think unless you carry out like a big nuclear war or maybe a
Well,
movement
no, that's
of
just
eight,
being small-minded, right? So, this could take hundreds of years, it could take thousands of years, and, you can't predict what the future is going to look like. You can't predict future technology and science. Nuclear bombs could be completely outdated in 10 years from now. So it's not about predicting the science, it's about doing the science, making it possible, determining what is the best extinction instead of just trying to just nuke it, we should do much better than that.
well, if you're gonna carry out the science for another 100 years, it's gonna cause more suffering. Don't you think that a lot of people are gonna be
But
born into suffering
when you
and
have
poverty?
when you have billions of years of suffering, you're preventing. Yeah, you have to be thorough. You can't rush it.
Okay, I see.
You would rush it, and then it would go wrong, and there would be billions of years of suffering. So that's the opposite of what we should do.
Well, I think extinction is coming either way. I think that the
Well,
planet now with
that's a
the
really selfish thing to say, right? That's like saying we shouldn't stop child abuse because one day the universe will end, right? That's a really disgusting thing to say. It's like saying let them suffer, screw them, fuck them, basically, right? That the sun is going to end anyway, so who cares if you want to torture children? Who cares if you want to torture animals? It's a really gross thing to say.
well, I think it's gonna happen either way.
You should be ashamed of yourself for saying that.
Well, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I'm saying that it's gonna happen.
You're saying who cares about child abuse? Who cares about animal abuse? The sun is going to close down in a few billion years. So if you want to go and abuse children, who cares? That's what you're saying.
No, I never said that. No,
You should be ashamed of yourself.
no, you're putting words into my mouth. I never
No,
said
you
that.
said extinction's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, well, that's not saying that child abuse is all right. That
No,
has
you're
nothing
saying
to do with
who
it.
cares? Extinction's going to happen anyway, right? When actually you have no idea if it will. So you're saying who cares about their suffering? Just ignore it.
No, what I'm saying is, I think
Friction. That is what you're saying, and just accept defeat, right? Stop trying to worm your way out of it when we're only using your own words against you here. Okay, moving on. We have a lot of people in the queue now. Hello, how's it going? Hello. No? Okay. They've ghosted. Moving on. Loads of people in the queue. Let's bring some more people up. Hello.
Nigger.
You're from which African country? Niger, did you say? Yeah, support to Africa. Absolutely. Okay, Chloe coming on next. Let's bring up Chloe. Hello, how you doing?
Hey daddy, I want your white dick and my tat ass home, please.
Man, what is wrong with people on TikTok? Seriously. But either way, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, and we'll move on. James is making depressed people suffer because he's influencing nihilism. Wow, thought of the century there. Move to Instagram, James. And maybe I could. Hello, how you doing?
Why don't you start by yourself?
Because that wouldn't help others who can't help themselves.
But you believe in extinction of humans.
No, not just humans, but animals and everything.
Then start by ending yourself, and
so do you know
be a
what the
symbol
word?
for the other.
Yeah, but that would be counterproductive.
I don't know, man. I think this is retarded, actually.
Yeah. I think your idea is really silly, right? We can't help animals if we just don't exist, right? So the way to help animals is not to just unalive yourself. You would have to be insane to think that, basically. So yeah, unfortunately, the last guy, I think we can say safely, he was insane. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I have a question. I agree with your idea, but you said we need to eliminate not only humans but also animals of the earth so we could prevent life of forming, right? But what about bacteria and other living forms that we can erase easily?
Yeah, so we have to work towards the best extinction possible, the most vast and thorough. And in terms of bacteria, you know, we already have soap and stuff, right? You can wash your hands, so we already know how to deal with bacteria. But yeah, obviously we want to do the best extinction, the most vast and thorough possible, the most preventative, the most thorough. And that could take thousands of years to scientifically determine and carry out. So essentially, we're not going to rush it. We're going to do the best one possible.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for coming up.
Bye.
I'll give you a follow. But yeah, you know, that's really answers a lot of the questions for people, is that we have to work towards the most vast and thorough one possible. It's the fairest thing, the most thorough, the safest way. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. This is the most okay. Can you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Define extinction. Define human. Define life extinction, so I can get where you're coming from. Because
Extinction is when a species goes extinct, right?
yeah, so they don't exist anymore. They're no more.
That's right. Yeah.
And your idea is to prevent people from feeling pain and suffering.
Yes.
You're going to get rid of everybody.
If there is nobody that exists to suffer, then there is no suffering.
So why did you say? Does it hurt you that people are actually suffering and going through pain?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's terrible, and we have to provide safety from all of this nightmares.
So
going
you're
on.
providing safety by. Aren't you defeating the perfect purpose of life itself?
Life has no purpose.
Yeah, because if you're suggesting that we eliminate life itself,
Yes.
is actually what we're experiencing now. Life itself is what makes
So
everything
get
what
rid of
it
it,
is.
throw it in the bin.
So if we're going to take out life itself,
throw it in the bin. We
what's
don't want it.
left?
It's rubbish. So we don't need
So you
life.
don't want life.
Yeah, what we need is what we need is no life, right?
You need no life.
Yeah, because then there is safety.
And there is going to be absolute nothingness, and that's going to make you happy.
And it's not about me being happy, it's about safety.
But as there's no safety because there's nothing.
So let me ask you this: would you put some kittens into bleach? No, because that would be
No.
unsafe for them, right? So it'd be better
Right.
if there
But
was no life.
what you're suggesting is systematically eradicating people's life, which could equivalent to putting kittens in bleach. You're basically snuffing out people's life, which is
So you
basically
think
taking life.
killing
So
is a bad thing?
it defeats, yes, it defeats the
All right.
purpose of
So
what you're trying to
if
do.
you think
You're
killing
trying
is
to say,
bad,
I understand
all
that
right,
you're
you're yapping now. You're yapping now. Okay, you're yapping. Bit too much of this going on. Okay, so if you think killing is a bad thing, then extinction is your friend because it makes killing impossible, right? So, it makes child abuse impossible, animal abuse impossible. So if you support life continuing, you're supporting children being raped, you're supporting animals being tortured by psychopaths. So that's a terrible thing to support, and we should support safety from that, right? We should make sure that no life exists in infinite danger, where it's being, sexually abused, tortured by crazy people, right? Would you want to be born into the basement of a sadist who's going to, rape you to death? No. Would you want your mother to go through that? Your family to go through that? And yet you're happy for it to happen to others, right? So that's what we mean by discriminatory empathy. Humans have evolved to say, well, I wouldn't want that for myself. No. But you say, what
why
about
did
if we
you
do it to
mute
someone
me and
else? It's
then
like, yeah,
start
okay.
rambling on yourself?
Oh my
Because that's
God.
what you just did.
Okay, you're done. You're out of here. You're finished. Okay. In fact, let's ban her because she is really annoying and spams a lot as well. So yeah, she's out of here. Gone. Okay, moving on. We've got more people in the queue. She wasn't annoying at all. What are you guys talking about? She literally would not shut up, right? And was just spamming, basically, right? Just pure yap.
What the fuck?
Yeah, hi, how's it going? Okay, they joined by accident, maybe? Okay, we've got a couple more people in the queue. Dr. Iridium, hello.
I was here yesterday, but I just want to ask, do we need to get rid of bacterial life forms because they can cause further suffering? Or
Yes.
is there another cause?
Yeah, we have
Okay,
to get
that
rid
was
of
just-
everything.
And also, won't AI just suffer because AI can also evolve to be intelligence, or is that supposed to be modded on? Because in the end plan...
Most suffering in the world is with animals being eaten alive as babies, right? So the AI is probably not going to get eaten alive as a baby. Okay, it's probably not going to get chased. It's probably not going to get diseases. It's not going to get hungry. Okay, so the AI is not going to suffer.
But AI must experience negative prompts in order to learn something. Wouldn't it?
Well, you can do it in a way where it doesn't suffer, basically.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming up. And even if the AI does suffer, it's still going to suffer less than those it's helping, right? So if we have one AI or lots of AIs, whatever, it's going to have better conditions, better safety. It's going to be stronger, right? It's going to have a metal body and whatnot. It's going to suffer less than all of the animals being eaten alive, right? So who's going to suffer better, right? Who's going to suffer more? A big, strong robot or a baby animal being eaten alive? Right? I would say, yeah, let's have the robot, even if it suffers. Who cares? It can provide safety. Okay, moving on. We've got Bushling Master wants to come back up. Hello.
I'm sorry, is this Rage Bait?
No.
Are you comparing human species with AI?
No.
But you just did. You say that AI is suffering. AI cannot
No.
suffer.
That was the guest was saying that. I was saying I don't think AI will suffer. Anyway, we should do total extinction and end all suffering so that nobody's being, put into a terrible life. Don't you think?
So you agree on that we all should just die?
No, it's that we should work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible.
And how is that possible? By killing ourselves?
No, that would be the opposite. So that wouldn't be the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? That would be the smallest and the least vast, the least thorough extinction possible, because you're only dealing with yourself. So we need a universal system that can help those who can't help themselves, right? Animals can't unalive themselves. People in desperate situations can't unalive themselves. So we have to prevent suffering instead of allowing it and then dealing with it afterwards.
So how do we extinct ourselves? How do we do that?
So the only fair way to do extinction, right? The only fair way to do it is in a universal way. So that means working towards the best extinction, which is going to cover as much life as possible in the most thorough way possible. So we're working towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which again is the most fair, the most ethical way to do it, the most wide-spreading, wide-reaching, right? The most universal, that covers as many as possible.
But
so we have to scientifically determine that, right? We might be able to do the entire universe potentially.
Yes, but we can agree on extinctions means that you kill a majority of a race, right?
No, it's not about killing a race. It's
not
about
a race, just humanity, for example.
Extinction doesn't apply to races. It's about the species no longer existing.
Yes, but we have to do it by dying. So how do we get there?
So we have to run the world as a government, right? You can't do extinction unless you're the government. You won't be able to do a proper job. So we have to run the world ethically. We have to start doing animal extinction with euthanasia, and we have to start researching the most vast and thorough extinction possible. And then as soon as humanity is no longer helpful or needed, that's when we can make it safe with extinction. Now, we might be able to replace ourselves with robots and AI who can continue to work towards, the most vast and thorough extinction possible in our place. So that's the priority, the best extinction possible, but we may be able to get robots to do it for us, which would mean that we can go extinct sooner rather than later, if possible, right? That's if we can rely on robots. We might not be able to. So we will have to continue existing and reproducing for as long as necessary and as long as we are needed.
This is going to sound kind of weird, but I have seen your TikTok a lot. And you say that we should kill ourselves and
No, we're against suicide. We're against self-harm. So if you can point out where I've said we should kill ourselves, then show me the video.
For example, when there's this video about don't commit suicide, do this instead, and then you write something about going to a mall or an airport and just bomb and kill a mass majority of people.
Yeah, no, I've never said to go and bomb people or to do anything like that. No.
If you say so, but
yeah, I do say so, right? Look, I should know what I said. I said, don't end your own suffering, end all suffering with total extinction.
Yes, and we have to do that by killing a mass majority of people.
How do you achieve extinction by killing a majority instead of the totality? You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just trolling at this point. And I think realistically, we should ban you from the channel so that your violence.
I'm fine about that. You are just rage baiting us.
Right. Well, you're giving misinformation. You're encouraging violence and stuff like that, and saying that I'm telling people to go and do bombings and stuff. No, we're against violence. We're against self-harm. We need more humans, right? So why would I be encouraging violence when we need more humans, right? Violence would lead to less humans. We need more humans. The more people we have in the world, the faster we can do extinction, right? So the less humans we have, the more difficult it will be to do extinction properly. Okay, so imagine if we had 100 people on the planet, animal extinction would be very difficult. But the more people we have, the faster our technology will progress and advance. and therefore the faster, the sooner we can replace ourselves with robots, the sooner we can work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible in a fair and universal way, right? So people don't care about doing extinction and safety in a fair way, right? They don't care. That's the problem with most people that support extinction, right? They say, well, I'm not having a child, so I'm supporting extinction. Well, that doesn't actually do anything to help animals, doesn't do anything to help anyone else's child, doesn't do anything to help aliens. So they're completely against doing extinction in a fair way, right? And the only fair way to do extinction is with the most vast and thorough, universal extinction possible, right? A universal system where we're making decisions in an organized way and saying, right, we can start doing that extinction here. We can start doing animal extinction. We've discovered a way to prevent life developing on planets, right? That's the fair thing to do, to work towards the best extinction possible, where we make sure that all of the animals are safe from suffering, that no human is ever suffering ever, right? But people don't want to do that. They don't want to work towards a fair and universal system for everyone where we provide safety for all. They want to be lazy and selfish and discriminate against animals and literally say, I did nothing by not having a child, give me some applause, right? I'm not helping animals, I'm not helping anyone else's child, I did literally nothing by not having a child, and now I want you to clap for me, right? That's what they want. So no, we are never gonna clap for you for doing nothing, not having a child, and then claiming you're a hero now, okay? We will clap for you if you support a universal fair system for all, right? Don't prevent just your child's life and suffering. That's selfish, right? We have to work towards a universal system for everyone. And you can't make it optional and voluntary, like, oh, we just need to encourage people not to have kids. Firstly, that will never work. And secondly, that doesn't help animals. So again, you're just being lazy and selfish and doing literally nothing, right? Antinatalism is disgusting, to be honest, right? It's a joke. If you think not having children is helpful or a good thing, then you are insane, basically, completely insane, right? Your intelligence level must be zero, right? Because not having a child does nothing to help animals, does nothing to help aliens, does nothing to help other humans. It's literally doing nothing, and it does nothing as well, right? You're not having a kid, you're doing nothing, and what does it achieve? Nothing, right? It doesn't help anyone. So antinatalism is completely insane. It's for extremely selfish and lazy people. It does nothing to help anyone else, nothing to help animals. It's the worst type of extinction possible, right? The laziest, least effective, most selfish, like the most absurd and insanely terrible type of extinction possible. It does nothing. It's doing nothing and does nothing, right? It is nothing. So we need to do better than that, and we need to work towards the best extinction possible, the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which means, again, making as much of the world as safe as possible. It's as simple as that. Antinatalism does nothing. It's the opposite of being helpful. So humans are actually the solution. That's another thing that you need to start understanding. Humanity is the solution, not the problem. We are the only ones that can solve all of the suffering in the world. Over 99% of the population on this planet is wild animals suffering terribly in nature. So we are a tiny speck in terms of the population on this planet. Invisible, basically, right? We're like a grain of sand on a beach compared to wild animals. And we also have the best conditions, the highest safety. So yeah, we suffer the least, and yet we are the most capable of reducing and preventing suffering for others and those who can't help themselves and those who actually suffer even worse than we do. So yeah, humanity is the solution, and we need to work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible and helping those who can't help themselves, okay? Which means future life, potential life, animal life, alien life, potentially. People are really against the idea of helping aliens, okay? A lot of people are saying, forget it, we don't know if they exist. But again, they're trying to rush the extinction, right? It's a selfish, lazy thing, right? In the same way that you want to just get it over quickly with antinatalism, you want to do nothing, achieve nothing, and yet get credit for doing everything. Like, no, we're not going to give you credit for being an antinatalist. It's doing nothing. So instead, we should work towards the best extinction, the most vast and thorough one possible, right? It's the only fair thing to do. So that's what the pro-extinction movement is about, the most intelligent extinction possible, right? The best extinction, the most vast and thorough, and the most preventative, right? So the most thorough is really important as well. Again, it's not about just removing life, it's about making sure that it's impossible for life to exist ever again. So if you just remove life, and do extinction that way, it can evolve again. Guess what? Billions of years of more suffering. You haven't really achieved as much as you could have done. So yeah, it's really about prevention. In fact, that's the main part of our mission, is prevention, right? Most of the planets in the universe won't have life yet, but some of them will do in the future. So, preventing billions of planets and billions of years of suffering, it's not about removing life, it's about making sure life never develops on those planets. Or maybe you do have to remove the life, but then again, it's mostly about preventing it, right? Life will potentially, if not probably, just come back. So if you remove all of the life on a planet, guess what? It will just come back and suffer again. So yeah, you do have to prevent it, right? And people say, oh, we shouldn't bother trying to prevent it, but if we're not even going to try, then you definitely won't prevent it, right? So they're saying, oh, it sounds difficult, let's not bother. But no, we should try. We should absolutely do our best to provide as much safety for as much of the world as possible. Okay, moving on. We've got a couple people in the queue. Let's see who wants to come on. CL, hello.
Hi again. Sorry, this is like my third time joining. I keep thinking of questions once I get out. Okay, so I have like two questions for you. My first question is, when for example me, when I think of like total extinction, for example, like the human race, I think of it as in like, oh, like humans, they're like horrible. There's racists, there's pedophiles, there's rapists and stuff. And like I think, yeah, because of that, humans should maybe like go extinct. And I agree, but that's what I mostly think of.
Why should animals suffer though? Why should any animal have to suffer alone, in fear, in terrible pain? It's not something any animal or life form should have to go through.
I guess. Okay, and
a lot of animals in nature, right? They literally get born, they're a baby, and then they see their entire family get eaten alive, and then they get eaten alive.
Okay, my second question. Do you ever like question like your beliefs on this? Like, do you sometimes think like during the night you're like, maybe this is kind of like, I don't know, a lot?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you, that's it.
All right, CL, thank you.
Yeah. So,
hello.
Okay, so like, are you actually being serious about this, bro?
Yeah, suffering is serious. We need a solution for it.
Okay, I mean, you know what? You are partly right, but do you think this will actually ever happen?
But it's not about thinking it will happen. It's about trying to make it happen.
Okay.
But yeah, I do think it will happen.
Thank you, man.
This is kind of the way that the world is trending towards anyway, right? So, you've got veganism, you've got people thinking about racial issues and sexual issues like gay marriage and stuff, right? So the world is slowly getting more and more ethical and slowly getting more moral and correct. And part of that is slowly getting towards a zero tolerance policy on suffering. So that's the ultimate correct position, right? Is to say nobody should suffer, everybody should be safe. Whereas currently we have a meat grinder where animals and children get tortured to death so that a few can have fun at their expense. So it's like a meat grinder with innocent people and animals being tortured. so that the sausage can come out and be enjoyed by the rich people, the privileged people. So we shouldn't have a meat grinder. We should turn it off as soon as possible, right? And that need to turn the meat grinder off, the need for that is never going to go away, right? It doesn't matter if you improve conditions, right? So a lot of people have a very selfish mentality where they say, well, if there's only a little bit of suffering, then who cares, right? But no, for extinctionists and empaths, there's always going to be suffering and we're always going to be against it. So we will never stop until there is a suffering-free world. So if there's even one victim, we will still be trying to help them, right? There's no amount of suffering that is acceptable. There's no amount of, no, you can't reduce it to an amount where we stop caring about it, right? For most people, you can do it. Well, actually, they don't care about it no matter how much there is. Whereas for extinctionists, we care about it no matter how little there is, right? So we're not looking for excuses to justify suffering for our fun. We're looking for ways to never justify suffering, basically, to always do the right thing, to always prioritize safety over pleasure, basically, right? Irresponsible pleasure. So yeah, I really think that the need for extinction is always going to exist. And again, even if we have a utopia, even if animals are suffering less somehow, there's still going to be suffering, and the solution is still only going to be extinction. So we're still going to be trying to help those who are suffering, even if there's fewer of them. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question because I heard you mentioning that as one of your plan in extinction, you mentioned having breeding babies so that you can bring babies into this world that are actually in support of this movement, right?
Yeah.
As someone that don't want to bring children into this life specifically for the whole suffering issue, how does bringing children into this life actually?
So for every human that exists, it actually reduces suffering. So because for every human that exists, it prevents millions of wild animals from existing and living and suffering. Because you take up so much space, you have farms, agriculture, your house, roads, factories, everything that exists to support one human throughout their entire lifetime, it prevents millions of wild animals from suffering terribly. So for every human we have, it reduces suffering. So if you care about suffering, then the more humans, the better. And humans are the only solution for suffering, right? So we need more humans so that we can work towards the solution. If we have less humans, then the solution to suffering becomes more difficult. And again, you have to think about animals, right? We have to solve suffering for animals, for those who can't help themselves, right? Whereas we can help ourselves. So our suffering is not as important, basically.
Because I feel like we are supposed to work with the human beings that are already here and not bringing new human beings into this, right?
We can't do that, right? The thing is, unless humanity keeps reproducing, we will go extinct. So you are risking it, right? You're taking a chance. And the more humans we have, the faster we can do extinction. So by having less humans, you're going to have more wild animals suffering. Don't know what happened there. So yeah, by having less humans, you're going to have more wild animals suffering. You're going to make extinction more difficult, right? You're going to make it take longer and increase all of the suffering in the world. So it's literally the opposite of what you should do. The more humans, the better. The sooner we can solve suffering, and the less suffering there will be in the world. So it's literally a win-win-win.
I don't know about that. I say I'm not convinced yet.
No logic detected. No logic detected.
Okay.
So if you're not convinced, tell us why.
So should I have a child? Because for me, I don't feel like I actually want to bring a child into this life.
You don't have to, okay? You don't have to have children. You can do activism for the pro-extinction movement. But the thing is, you're approaching this from like a selfish perspective, right? How should I live my life for extinction? But it's not about you, right? You're making this about yourself. Extinctionism is about helping others, right? So it's
Yeah,
not
I
about
actually no, no,
it's not
I
about living in
actually
a
care.
selfish way.
Sorry to disrupt you, but yes, I do care about everyone, but I feel maybe
What are you doing to help them?
the movement is not famous as of now.
Yeah.
Maybe in Kenya, I can tell maybe only a few people have heard about it. But I feel the more people are actually hear about this, the more they be into this idea. And we don't really need to bring new human beings in. We can work with the people that are
So
already here.
the thing is, yeah, again, bringing new humans is a good thing. It reduces suffering. So why would it be a bad thing?
Because you're bringing more humans to suffer.
So you're
along with-
discriminating against animals, basically.
No, I'm also thinking about
Well, no,
animals.
I've told
because-
you, as I explained, for every new human, it reduces wild animal suffering massively, right? For millions of them. So it's actually a good thing to have more humans. So if you're saying we should only care about human suffering and we shouldn't care about animal suffering, then that is discrimination.
No, we should actually, and I feel like we should actually, human beings are the ones who are supposed to make decisions for animals because
Yeah,
I
you're
think
saying
they
we
can
should have
do
less
that.
humans to make less decisions for animals. How does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to hear from your perspective because I was not really understanding, but now I actually get it.
Okay, no worries. Read our website. There's a lot more explanations, proextinction.com. And look, for every intelligent human, right, if they don't reproduce, guess what? Only the unintelligent people will be reproducing. So antinatalism is completely self-defeating, right? It says, let's have less intelligent people and let's have more unintelligent people. Let's leave the decision of responsibility and safety to the unintelligent people and we'll just leave it to them, right? We'll just give them the keys. Here you go, right? Here's the keys to the universe. We're going extinct. Good luck. You're less intelligent than us, but we're going to leave the job to you. So that's insane, basically, right? So yeah, we need more intelligent humans. We need more humans in general. And it literally directly reduces suffering in the world. So why wouldn't you do it? Joe, hello. How's it going?
Good. I've actually got a few questions of how this extinction would go along.
Okay. Yeah.
First of all, how would it play out? How would you organize this extinction?
So we're growing the movement until we have enough people to take over the world, start running it ethically, start doing animal extinction while removing our dependence on them, start researching universe-wide extinction and the most vast and thorough extinction possible. So we would be pushing science and technology to their limits in order to do the most thorough and long-lasting and preventative and vast, the biggest extinction possible. So most people just want to just remove life and hope it doesn't come back. That's not good enough, right? So we need to make sure it doesn't come back. And if we can do beyond Earth as well, then we should.
Yeah, but what if someone enjoys their life? What would happen then?
Well, they might not enjoy it forever, right? The thing is, life shouldn't exist in infinite danger. So they might be enjoying their life today, but they could be getting tortured so badly tomorrow that they're begging for death, wishing they'd never been born.
Alright. Will there be a way to them after the extinction? Actually, no, you're right. Yeah, wow. No, that's actually a perfect plan. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you should go on my profile and go on the link. You can check out our website. You can join our Discord, our WhatsApp group. You can become an activist if you want, or you can just learn more. Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a perfect plan. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. I'll give you a follow. And do we have anyone else? Okay. Yeah, we do. We've got a couple more people. Let's get through them. We've got Lou coming up next. Lou, hello.
Hi. So English is not my first language, so I don't know if I'm talking right. I wanted to say that a couple of days ago, I was planning to take my own life, and I asked like the universe for a sign, and one of your videos appeared on my For You page, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I became one of your followers. But I'm so curious about the movement, but I'm not sure, because I think there's people that want to live like happy people, you know. Uh, what do you think about
Yeah.
those people?
So it's a selfish thing, really, to want to live at the expense of others, right? But that's what most people are doing now. So most, like 99% of the population are exploiting animals, torturing them, abusing them, right? Eating them. So most people just simply don't care, basically, right? And so you can't say, oh, well, what about the people that want to exploit animals? It's like, no, no. And the thing is, if you make extinction optional and voluntary, then suffering will just continue forever, right? Extinction will never happen. And you have to use force to defend the victims of suffering. Because if you don't, then force will be used to make them suffer. So we have to use forceful prevention of life. Otherwise, life will use force to make innocent ones suffer terribly.
Okay, so your mentality is like not letting people choose if they want to go extinct or not.
Yeah, we would do it for them.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So in the same way that when we're doing animal extinction, they're probably going to run away, running away from us after we're coming after them, even though it's for their own good, right? It will make them safe from infinite danger, right? Infinite potential for extreme suffering. Humans are going to do the same as well. The humans will be running away. We will have to hunt them down, round them up, chase them down, dig under some underground bunkers and throw a grenade in or something. Who knows, right? We're going to have to find every single last human, every single last animal, because if you don't find every single last one, then they'll just keep reproducing and it all starts again for billions of more years. So you have to do it, and it won't be nice, it won't be pleasant, but you shouldn't blame the solution. You should blame the situation. You should blame the problem, which is life existing and reproducing and constantly causing suffering, right? So don't blame us for solving that problem just because the solution isn't pretty, right? It's not going to be any uglier than life itself, right? Literally, nature is just animals in a bloodbath, killing each other, torturing each other. Putting them to sleep is not making it worse somehow, right? It's literally just providing them safety. And it's going to be the same for humans, right? They have evolved to desperately cling to life, to have overwhelming survival instinct, right? But that doesn't mean that it's correct, right? Just because humans are desperate to stay alive doesn't mean that that's like a good thing, or it's not even good for them. So yeah, I mean, humans and animals have literally evolved to go against their own best interests, right? To want to live in a dangerous world where you can end up getting trapped in hell, right? Why would anyone want to live in a world where there's like a 99% chance that you'll get trapped in hell? I mean, what percentage makes it acceptable, right? Would you live a good life if there's 1% chance of getting trapped in hell? I would say hell no, right? No, thank you. I don't want to get trapped in hell, and it's not worth it, right? The extreme torture you can receive being trapped in a life of pure excruciating hell for your entire life with no escape, right? Just extreme suffering, nightmares all day, every day. That's not worth it, right? That's not worth taking the risk. And even if you're willing to take the risk for yourself, it's not fair to say that everyone should go through that. And it's also not fair for you to continue living and taking that risk when, yeah, you're probably going to reproduce and keep the suffering going forever. You could end up suffering. You could cause somebody else to suffer. You could make it so that suffering carries on for billions of years. People are constantly obsessed with, oh, we need to do, basically the Gary and Mendham exit, right? So Gary and Mendham, the creator of Ephilism, we debated him on YouTube, right? And the video is still up there. So you can go and watch it. You can just search on YouTube, Inmendum Extinction Roast, and you'll find it. But he has the same problem where he wants a graceful exit, right? He wants it to be done peacefully. He wants it to be done in your own time, voluntarily. But if you do that, what's going to end up happening is it's going to go wrong, right? It's going to cause extreme suffering. It's going to allow extreme suffering. So, for example, if we could do human extinction today, and all you had to do is push a button and that's it, they all just disappear. If we don't do that, then let's say it's just a group of humans that want to live, right? So it's only humans that in this group that we're going to click a button on. They want to live, right? So if we allow them to live and we don't make them go extinct, guess what is going to happen, right? This is what happens. Some of them will end up regretting that decision. They will become trapped in a life of pure hell where it's so bad that they're wishing they'd never been born, begging for death, and just screaming in agony all day, every day, just being tortured horrifically, and regretting that decision, regretting being born, begging for death, unable to find it. So that's not worth it, right? Allowing people to walk into that when actually they're not really able to make that decision, right? They just have survival instinct which overwhelms their responsibility. It overwhelms their ability to make correct decisions. So we would be allowing them out of fear and terror to get tortured, basically. So that's not a good thing. They cannot consent to it properly. Humans cannot think about this correctly. They have specifically evolved to be completely 100% incapable of making responsible decisions for their own safety or for the safety of others, which is why we cannot allow them to make decisions for their own safety, because they will make the wrong decisions and they will end up regretting it. And you could say, well, who cares about them? Let them suffer. But that's not the right thing to do, especially when life is literally unable to make the right decision for its own safety. We shouldn't allow it to make the wrong decision and to suffer as a result. Instead, we should just say, no, nobody should be allowed to choose infinite danger, especially when they're not able to actually understand what they're committing themselves to. So, no, we shouldn't allow life to exist, even if it wants to, okay? It's literally evolved to want to exist against its own best interest, right? There's really nothing worth living for, right? There's nothing worth being tortured like that for. And there's also nothing worth living for that justifies the suffering of others, right? The thing is, right, you could get trapped in just your entire life just being tortured, right? You can get brain damage with chronic pain, no access to euthanasia, and guess what? You're going to be tortured for the next 50 years in the most horrific ways beyond imagination, right? So was it worth it? No, basically. It's not worth it, okay? It's simply not. And those who think it is worth it, they genuinely just do not understand the danger that they are committing themselves to, right? Danger is not a good thing. It's something that's completely unacceptable, right? You wouldn't let your child go and run in front of cars or something for fun, right? Because the danger level is just insane. And yet we're all in infinite danger already. So it's a crazy thing to think that, yeah, it's fine to exist in infinite danger for very little reward, right? It's completely insane. And again, only nature and evolution can twist your brain into thinking that way. So it's not a rational thing. So when people say, but I want to live, I accept the risk of the danger, well, you're not actually able to make that decision, right? And you may say that you are, but we are not going to trust you, because we have determined that it is completely and irrefutably irrational to want to exist in danger for fun. Chaina, hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on like global warming and climate change? Do you think that could be like a viable route for like total extinction. When you really think about it,
No.
like that could be
No.
because
So
okay.
universe-wide extinction takes priority over Earth extinction, basically.
So you're aiming for.
So in that sense, we need the best world possible, right? We need a stable planet, we need civilization, we need science and technology until we finish determining and carrying out the best extinction possible, right? The most thorough and vast one.
But you're talking about the entire universe when we don't even. That's still very much far ahead. Like
Well, we should be thinking about the whole picture, right? Not just being short-sighted.
I understand your point, but then don't you think there are some things that just can't, that are just not realistic, like the whole universe? Because
Well,
even
we shouldn't take anyone's word for it. We should take science's word for it.
yeah, and science is still, even science is saying that this universe might not be the only universe. There's different galaxies and stuff.
Yeah, that's not really relevant.
So, but you're talking about whole. I thought you just meant Earth, like all life on Earth.
No.
But why do you care about
Because we don't discriminate. Because we don't discriminate, right? So most humans discriminate. You discriminate against other life. We don't. You discriminate against potential life. We don't. So we care about potential life. We care about potential victims just as much as currently existing.
Like aliens, because when you're talking about like the universe, I'm thinking about aliens.
Yeah. Aliens will be suffering out there, and we should try and make them go extinct.
Okay. Well, thank you for this talk.
And
bye.
Look, the thing is, right? That's like, oh my God, he wants us to continue on for millions of more years for aliens. Well, look, we might just be able to pass that job on to AI and robots. So why would you deny that opportunity? That would just be insane, right? If AI and robots can carry on doing universe-wide extinction for trillions of more years, why would we not do that, right? Why would we not make that possible, right? Yeah, the AI and the robots can keep doing the science. It can progress our technology after we've gone. And maybe it will only be able to do our galaxy. Or who knows, maybe it will be able to do universe-wide extinction. But it's not really, it doesn't really cost us very much to try and make that happen, right? To just send out the AI, send out the robots, right? Send in the drones, right? So you're literally ruling out trillions of years for trillions of planets of safety because you think that, fuck it, basically. Well, no, we're not going to be irresponsible like that. We're going to push the limits of responsibility, push the limits of safety and compassion, basically, right? So most people, again, have a serious problem in their brains where they want to rush extinction, right? And the reason why is because they have discriminatory empathy. So they're seeing it as like, oh yeah, my safety is more important than the safety of others. So it comes from discrimination. It comes from saying, who cares about a universal system that's fair for all? Fuck them. What about me? Right? So that's wrong. It's selfish. It's discriminatory. The only right thing is to work towards the fairest system possible. Right? And that means, yeah, if it takes another 10 years to send some AI out that could prevent trillions of years of suffering, then we're going to do it. And if you really are so selfish and discriminatory that you wouldn't do that, then we will stop you, basically, and we won't let you join the movement, or, we will try and prevent you from preventing us from providing safety for others where you just simply don't care about them, right? So people have this thing where it's like, well, what about my country? What about my family? What about my race? What about my species? What about my planet? And it's just constant attempt after attempt after attempt to discriminate, to be selfish. We should work towards the fairest system possible. And if that offends you, then you are the problem, basically. Okay, we've got more people in the queue. Let's have a look. What's your view on Scientology? It's insane. It's just another crazy religion. It's not a good thing. What else? Okay, we've got M. M coming up next. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I have one question, and the question is, what if when we attempt to achieve universal extinction, what if we happen to find out that we are the only, or we and the people on Earth, or the animals on Earth, are the only beings capable of feeling the emotion of suffering? Do we leave the other universal beings alone, or do we continue?
We should continue because they could evolve to suffer, right? Things could change. So it's better safe than sorry.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Yeah, no worries. But it's very unlikely that there will be life in the universe which can't suffer. I mean, yeah, there might be some, but the thing is that life actually benefits from being able to suffer, right? It's a survival technique. The more you can feel the world and understand the world, the more you can survive and thrive. But that only benefits the lucky ones. For over 99%, it just means more and more suffering, more and more torture, higher levels of pain and misery. And so yeah, life does evolve to suffer. So that is the standard process for life. So that's what we should expect to see with all life in the universe. The expectation is that it will be suffering, because suffering is basically one of the most important things for life to exist, essentially. So we would be surprised to see any intelligent life which is not capable of suffering. That seems like the most unlikely thing possible, basically. Okay, we're going to take a break, maybe call it for the day, maybe not. I might be back on later, potentially. But for now, I'm going to take a break. And for everybody else that wants to continue the conversation, join us on Discord, join us on WhatsApp. The links are on my profile on TikTok. You can also check out the link to the website, proextinction.com. Learn more about us, join our Discord, meet me and the other activists there, come and talk to us, ask your questions there. There's loads of people. There's dozens and dozens of extinctionists in the Discord. You can come and ask their opinions, come and debate with them. Come and have a chat, right? And start doing activism. Start making videos to grow the movement. That's the most important thing. Educate people that we have to provide safety from suffering with total extinction, right? And the need for this is never going to go away. The necessary safety from extinction is never going to go away. Again, even if only 1% of wild animals somehow suffer in the future, whereas right now it's all of them, right? Trillions and trillions are being eaten alive, starving to death, burning alive in wildfires. But if somehow 99% of that gets solved and only 1% of animals are now suffering, we will still be coming to do total extinction, because no amount of suffering is acceptable. So for extinctionists and empaths, people against suffering, you cannot reduce suffering to an acceptable amount. That's what all of these selfish people want. Now, can't we just reduce it a little bit and then it's okay? No amount of cruelty is okay. So we have to have a zero tolerance policy on that, and we have to help every last victim. We can't say, oh, it's only a few animals now, so fuck them. No, literally, we will all be helping until there's no more suffering. Even if there's one animal to help, we will all be coming to help them 100%, right? We will be their hero, essentially. We won't just leave them to suffer, whereas most people will, unfortunately. So we need heroes against suffering. So become one today, join the pro-extinction movement, do peaceful activism with us, grow the movement to make ending all suffering possible. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you.